Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Dave Cottingham here with Casey Cooley.
Hello, everybody.
And with us, our guest for the episode 7 commentary, Cody Guiler.
Hey. Hey,
How
guys.
are you, buddy?
I'm good. I'm glad to watch this movie with you guys.
Yes, this is awesome. Our first time we've done our commentary for this movie.
Yeah.
Been out almost 2 years.
I'm so excited.
We kind of forgot, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Because now this is our journey to Star Wars The Last Jedi.
Yep.
Which is a mere 16 days away.
Wow.
16 days.
We're just over 2 weeks to the movie. We are now doing our final commentary in this journey that we started back in late May or June, I think. Early June, I think.
Yeah.
So we have done this journey where we've recorded commentaries for all the films, including ones that we haven't done before, which is Rogue One and now Episode 7. We did some fan trailers that are out there. So just, if you're following us on Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff, it's on there. So we appreciate it. We're going to dive right into the movie here. We've got a lot to talk about because we are getting hyped and more every day for this movie. And this is obviously the one leading up to that movie. So we are watching the Blu-ray, obviously, of The Force Awakens. And I am pressing play right now. And
here we go.
Here we go. So there's your Lucasfilm logo.
So pretty.
Yeah, I should probably do
Nice
the 11, 12, 13 just in case. It's right here as usual. All right. So now here's the thing. You normally when we start these things, because they've been past movies,
Yeah.
long prequels back in the late 90s and originals way back in the day. I usually ask the guests, where were you, or when was the first time you saw the movie?
Saw The Force Awakens?
But obviously, I know when we saw The Force Awakens, we all saw it opening night.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah, you were with us, right?
He was.
I was living in
Oh,
Washington, D.C.
that's right,
I do have
you
a funny
were.
story about seeing The
Okay,
Force
yeah, well,
Awakens.
share, please.
So a buddy of mine, we decided to go to Maryland. He was living in Pennsylvania at the time. I was in D.C. Maryland was kind of the halfway point, and we found a theater, got our tickets, reserved them, had our seats picked out. They were awesome, like middle of the theater. So I'm driving up there, and I get to roughly I can see the theater, but I'm not quite there yet in this roundabout. And I'm in my Jeep, and I go to turn the steering wheel, and as I turn, the wheel is kind of like stuck, and I kind of pull it, and the wheel just keeps spinning. And so my steering wheel is like broken, like the steering column is broken. Of course, my first thought is, oh my gosh, my car's broken, but I need to go see The Force Awakens. So luckily we got there super early because I was driving to Maryland. Like I left myself plenty of time.
Yeah.
Didn't you have your luggage with you? You had a suitcase with you, too, didn't you?
That was another screening with Jen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I've got a, yeah.
It's weird.
I saw The Force Awakens like 3 times that weekend. It was awesome. But ended up calling AAA, basically just told them, hey, take my car wherever you want. I'll figure it out tomorrow. And went and still made it to The Force Awakens on time.
Here's a blank check,
what time
sir.
did you see it?
It
was it one of the first
It was
showings?
the 7 or 7:30, like one of the opening night, the day before release. But made it to the movie and it had a great time.
Yeah. Now, obviously, Case, we saw it
Yes.
opening night as well, 2015. So
I was on the news because of our local NBC affiliate was doing a spot about it, and I was like super early.
Oh,
in the theater.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So they interviewed me about it, but they barely used me in the spot. But
Now, I don't think there were, if I remember correctly, there weren't reserved seats then. We didn't have reserved seats then, right?
Oh no.
Yeah, did we get in line, I guess, early?
Well, we just got so early, there was no line. We got
you're right.
before the line.
Yes, you're right.
We got there really early.
Yeah, of course, there were tons of showings for this movie. I mean, let's just talk about that too, because with the Disney buyout of Lucasfilm back in 2014, the same day they announced that they were doing a new trilogy. 7, 8, 9 were coming, which is something I completely never expected. There were rumors, though, if you remember, that Lucas was talking to the original cast about maybe doing an episode 7, 8, 9, but and there's always been rumors throughout the years that he had an outline for 7, 8, 9, which he probably did. But there was, we had, because of the buyout, that's when we obviously started the podcast, because we knew we were going to be talking more about Star Wars in the coming years, not knowing really and expecting how much we've gotten since then, which is all the novels, Story Group got announced, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, but leading up to this movie, I don't know, I cannot remember, even back when episode 1 was coming out, I just don't remember experiencing that much hype in expectations for a movie. I don't know. Do you guys? What do you remember about the hype as far as leading up to this movie?
You go ahead.
I mean, well, I was a lot younger for episode 1. I mean, I love the Phantom Menace, and I probably saw it in theaters more times than I've seen any movie, just because I was a kid and had the luxury of being able to go to the theater whenever.
But you had seen the originals, obviously, first, right?
Previously, basically like growing up with them.
Yeah.
But for, I don't know, like you said with the buyout, I mean, I remember Casey and I were in college together when they announced it.
Oh. Yeah,
and it's just like
me,
that exciting moment of like figuring out that news. And with, we're in, film school, and so we're all kind of studying the same thing, and we all just, getting very excited about, what these movies could be, who the directors, would be, and then finding out it was going to be J.J. Abrams. That was like also one of the big moments where I was just so on board, and I was ready. Like, I felt like it was in really good hands with Disney,
right.
And then with JJ, I knew it was going to be something that I was going to look forward to.
Right.
The hype. I mean, personal hype. The only other movie I can think of that related was, might be oddly enough, Dark Knight. I was like super hyped for that one. There was a lot of viral marketing for it that kind of helped that campaign.
Yeah.
For this one, I mean, it's just there wasn't like a whole lot of that kind of like viral marketing where it was very all these different games or puzzles you had to kind of figure out to kind of get you involved with the movie. It was all just the trailers that were released and just toys for Force Friday, and then that was pretty much it. It's just the excitement of more Star Wars, but it was like I don't know, just excitement for this movie probably is above and beyond anything else. I don't know. Last Jedi is actually pretty close to my excitement.
But at that time, the thing about it is like, because you had, well, for one, we talk about it all the time, but fans were left. Some fans were left disappointed with what they got in the prequels, and now with, and honestly, I remember when we started the podcast, you read things where people were not sure Disney could handle it.
Oh yeah,
and is it going to be Disney-fied? And like
I remember reading those.
Yeah,
people say that.
People had questions about what a Disney movie Star Wars was going to look like. But I remember, I mean, I think almost I'd be hard pressed. I think all of us would be hard pressed to find a Star Wars fan that when you saw that trailer that Thanksgiving 2014, you were. I just can't imagine finding a Star Wars fan that looked at that and said, "I'm worried." I mean, it was unbelievable, right? And how short it is, 88 seconds, right?
You're just trying to remember as you're watching every single frame.
Yes,
like I need to soak this in.
I just love how it opened on the Jakku shot, and then Finn just pops up and startles you, and it's just like I just remember like that feeling of just like I was excited and startled, and just like that like helped build that hype.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, the shot of Kylo that, was from behind and nobody really knew who he was.
And the cross guard, which was right there. But
oh, man, I love that.
Okay, so let's dive into the movie now a little bit. For one, if you guys remember, I don't know if you remember, Case, we talked about this a lot on the show, is who was Max von Sydow playing?
I know, yeah.
Right? So Laura Santeca.
We didn't get the name until I think in Encyclopedia.
Oh yeah, very, very, very late, right before the movie, I think, pretty much.
Yeah.
Right. So this is the group there is the Church of the Force that he kind of leads. But I was pretty convinced. I don't know about you guys. I was pretty convinced that he somehow was tied with rebels.
Well, cool.
Like
Well,
possibly
I remember,
like a Kanan or Ezra.
You were sitting behind me in the theater, I think, and then like. There was just one little line where, "Look how old you become," and I just was like, and I was looking behind, I was like, "It's gotta be, it's gotta be, it's gotta be Ezra and Kanan."
Ezra and Kanan, yes, that's right, yeah. But Kylo,
no.
yeah,
but it's not.
Oh my gosh, that's true, yeah.
Well, I feel like I remember early rumors when he was announced because of how old he was as an actor.
Yeah.
That people were saying he could be the one actor that sort of like ties together from the prequel
Originals.
trilogy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, prequels.
You know,
okay.
even like
Wow.
that. You know,
Yeah.
and you know, nothing ended up coming of that.
No.
But I mean, he's still a great actor.
So that's a good point because I think they did a great job as Lucasfilm and all that stuff. I really do think they did a good job of keeping things secret, not spoiling much. Obviously, other people spoiled stuff when they started watching the movie. But did you guys feel like you going into it knew a lot about what you thought you were going to see, or did you get surprised? Were you surprised a lot with what you saw?
I mean, with all the trailers and TV spots, I mean, I think I was mentioning this to Casey about The Last Jedi, where I feel like I know a lot less about The Last Jedi going in. You know, they showed the big. I mean, you know, you didn't know necessarily that it was at the end, but you know, you kind of guessed. They showed the big fight with Kylo and Finn in the end of a trailer. You know, locking lightsabers, and you kind of had this feeling that there was something more with Rey. They were gonna do with the whole, like, you know, they showed Finn with a lightsaber and all the promotional material.
Yeah, that was such a misdirection.
Beat you over the head that, you know, this is gonna be the hero and the Jedi, and you know, they had the big twist there. And I feel like one of the Entertainment Weekly photos had that showdown with Kylo from behind and Rey and Finn in a photo.
Yeah.
I just feel like that is a huge spoiler looking back at the movie now.
Right.
Just knowing that Rey was there in that scene. Because I feel like I remember seeing that picture and being like, wow, Rey's like dressed in her desert clothing in a snow environment. She must be super cold. And just thinking through that and then realizing that it, you know, after you see it, that it's at the end of the movie. So there were moments that I felt like, you know, you could tell where the characters were going to be, but you know, the whole Luke, I mean, I thought Luke was going to be bigger part of the movie.
Absolutely.
So
I think a lot of people,
you know,
did.
that caught me by surprise.
But again,
sure.
looking back at promotional materials, you never saw Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it made sense that you never saw him in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like with this movie, I did have a lot more material to kind of speculate on.
Yeah, because I think we did a pretty good job guessing the storylines and everything, like the week before we went and saw it.
Well, because we were given, you know, beforehand, even before I guess they officially put it on the poster there, Starkiller Base, what
Correct.
it was. Because there were rumors about a new super weapon, and then we kept thinking like, oh, they would not do that again.
True.
And then I saw the entry on the Star's database about what Starkiller Base is. And it could destroy entire systems. And then we were like, this is kind of a weird early, almost somewhat of a leak. And then they officially said it and they put it on the poster. But so, you know, that kind of tells you what the story's about. I feel like a big thing is like, oh, it's a big super weapon that got destroyed. And then little things here and there. And then, you know, we always kind of thought the big, Kylo might be a Skywalker of some sort, probably Han Solo's kid, but. You know, so there wasn't a whole lot of surprise. It was still fun when the reveal happened. You're still excited about it, but you know, I can't remember there being many surprises that didn't really speculate.
Yeah, I didn't. I wasn't.
A few moments like the force back was a surprise.
Yeah, definitely the force back. Yeah,
like Rey's.
But see, even like something like this, even like
Force.
this. You know, desert planet with this big Star Destroyer was used in the trailer, right? So that didn't, which was surprising when we watched it in the trailer.
Yeah.
Like I remember that was the second trailer released at Celebration in 2015. And I remember I had just gotten Anaheim and the panel just went off and the trailer just went out.
Yeah.
And I remember we were sitting there eating and I pulled up on my phone and that's the first shot. And I remember thinking, what? A Star Destroyer sitting there like that? What the heck?
Yeah.
Because there's obviously speculation on the first teaser that, it's Tatooine again.
Yeah.
But as we find out, it's not. It's Jakku. And speaking of Jakku, the Battle of Jakku, which that is referenced, you know, that is the direct result of all these Star Destroyers and X-Wings and all these, all the wreckage, all these scavengers. That's what they're scavenging is from that battle. Now, Battlefront 2, for everybody watching, it just came out a couple weeks ago, and that is in that campaign is an even more, I feel like more descriptive view of what the Battle of Jakku looked like. With all, I mean, you think about basically full fleets from the Imperial side as well as the Rebellion or the Republic at that time, I guess. Because it takes place a year. Battle of Jakku is a year after Return of the Jedi, after the Battle of Endor, and it's basically the final battle of the Civil War. So, what you're seeing there is obviously all that wreckage from that battle. And now, I mean, I think most of you guys, you've done Aftermath, right? You read the Aftermath books? Oh, you haven't. So we went through the. Got to read the Aftermath books, because that leads up that whole year leading up to the Battle of Jakku in Empire's End, and you just get a really good sense of what happened. And of course, Battlefront. You know, if you do the campaign, you kind of get a sense as well, a different point of view. But right, yeah. So, but anyway, I love more and more. I think there's a ton of stories that you can tell through the Battle of Jakku, and I think it's all fantastic stuff to read up on.
Well, and all this imagery, I think also, I don't know if you guys looked at it, but the concept art leaks like way back when, way before any of the trailers. Before this might have even been when Michael Arndt was still the writer before they changed writers. But I mean, that Star Destroyer in a desert environment, the AT-AT laying there was definitely one of the concept art leaks.
But in hindsight, too, that's one of the shocking things of how much that turned out to be true, the concept art. Because a lot of it's like, oh, that's probably fake, this and that. And there's a lot of concept art that we saw that turned out to be official, but didn't make it into the movie.
Like Luke.
There's a
lot of stuff with Luke.
I guess what Maz was going to look like earlier.
Yeah,
and
right.
Who was holding the lightsaber, and there was even how the lightsaber looked. There was like a crystal lightsaber kind of a thing, and the color of it. And so there's a lot of different things about it. But still, like the AT-AT there and some other things that were just surprisingly, there were some leaks that should not have happened.
They did a really good job, and they still have with Rey. I think there's still a lot of questions of who she is, where she comes from.
Absolutely.
I think that was one of the biggest takeaways from Force Awakens, and going into it not knowing. I feel like when they did the table read, I saw Daisy Ridley. I saw who she was. She was like sitting by Harrison Ford, and
right in between,
and
Carrie
I think
Fisher
in Carrie Fisher,
Harrison Ford,
And I was like, oh yeah, that's their daughter.
Yeah.
And she very well still could be.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, but so because I think you're right. I think going into the film, I do think a majority of fans just assumed she was their daughter. I mean, because I don't know if I really feel like there was a lot of speculation until after the movie,
right?
That wait, who is this girl, right? Because I mean, you get that part of that story throughout this film, especially when they get to Maz's castle and she goes and touches the lightsaber. Because again, that was a shocking moment when she did that, and you started seeing all this imagery. Now, you did see some of that in the trailers. You saw the shot of the Knights of Ren in the rain. You saw, I think that might have been the only shot
of Luke reaching out and touching R2.
That's right. But you didn't get like the hallway on Bespin where they fought. Luke and Vader fought. You didn't get her, kind of in that snow area. You didn't obviously hear in the trailers Yoda's voice and Ewan McGregor's voice, as Obi-Wan. So
Rey.
It was crazy. It was a great moment, and that to me, that almost feels like that's when people really started thinking like, wait a minute, what? How is she? Because obviously she's strong with the Force. You find that out too, but it's cool when Maz, someone that's very, to me, is kind of Yoda-like in a sense, senses and knows a lot of things. When she's questioning about something, it's pretty intense and pretty dramatic what that story could be.
Here's kind of unrelated, somehow unrelated tangent point, but has it ever been rumored, discussed that if like Han and Leia could be her parents, but like Luke wiped their minds with the Force?
I haven't heard that, but that's could be possible.
Just thought about it.
I mean,
I feel like I heard a lot of somebody wiped Rey's mind rumors a while back, but never that Luke would have wiped their mind
for safety, just like. Obliviate.
Yeah, and the latest, and I can't remember if you brought it up or maybe it was Anthony that brought it up, but the one of the latest rumors was that Kylo dropped her off.
That's my favorite theory.
I've heard that before.
That,
You said it.
That Kylo basically saves Rey from
Exactly,
or spares her in some way, and that's why she's on Jakku, and that she's basically this embodiment of the good still in him.
Right.
I think that would be a really strong emotional part of the narrative. I don't know if they'll go that route or not.
But do you think they're related though?
I'm starting to think that she's not related to Skywalker or Solo.
Oh wow!
I think that they could get away with never telling you, and it still being okay. But a lot of fans will still really want to know.
Yeah, I think that would be a disservice a little bit.
I'm getting to the point where I would be surprised if she is a Skywalker or Solo.
Really?
Because I keep thinking about the timeline, about because what we've read in Bloodline.
So then, do you think that this whole saga of 7, 8, 9 is actually about Kylo Ren and not Rey? Because it's a Skywalker. It's supposed to be a Skywalker story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, you still have very much Luke in it, and
you
he's
do.
very much tying up his.
But
legacy.
not in the first one. But you do.
Yeah. Well, it's still he's the
center of it. Yes, correct.
Of it, but
yeah, Kylo, Ben Solo is kind of a you look at he's the antagonist in the film, but if you look at it as like a reverse protagonist, what happens? He goes up against Rey and loses. What happens to Luke when he goes up against Vader? He loses the first time. There's a lot of those beats. He's trying to train, but he's not fully trained yet. Totally. He needs to go finish his training with Snoke. Which is
and what happens in the original trilogy? Who actually ends up being a hero in the original trilogy? Darth Vader.
There you go.
So it's not out of the realm of possibility that because there's obviously again speculation that Kylo is he flirting with coming back to the light.
Yeah.
I mean, to me truly that's even more likely. I think now than Rey being a Skywalker. Honestly, I think he is coming over anyway.
Yeah,
but we'll get more into that at our podcast, which is at InsideTheForce.com. Go check that out. What? Yeah. One thing I did want to mention as the movie's just flying by us as we're talking, but were you surprised? Just talk about imagery and stuff like that. Were you surprised that they actually changed the look, and what was the reason why you think they changed the look of the Stormtroopers? Why wouldn't they just stick with?
I think I was something totally different.
I think I was.
Huh? Or something totally different.
I was surprised with the helmet redesigns, and to be honest, I don't really know if it was as much of a hey, it's this is 30 years in the future. Things are going to change. Like cars, they make cars nicer, sleeker. The helmets have that kind of feel. It feels like a new car model of the Stormtrooper helmet. But was it for merchandising? I don't know.
Probably.
Was that a big part of it? I'm not really sure.
But they didn't really change the TIE fighters that much. You know what I mean?
Color.
They have a little red accent.
Yeah,
a
little
bit. Yeah, it's almost. I keep thinking too, story-wise, why did the First Order not just go with something totally different? It's why reinvent the wheel? Let's just keep what worked before.
Right, and not just that. I would maybe venture to think that if this was a whole new group, but technically, as we found out, it's literally born of the Empire. I mean, it's still the remnants of the Empire that are reestablishing themselves. Mm-hmm. So it's you would think, because there wasn't really a gap between, all right, we lost all the Stormtroopers and now we have to start over. I mean, immediately from the Battle of Jakku, they were training these Stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Right?
Hux right there.
Hux's father.
He was there.
Well, Hux's father, too, is the one that started the program, Brendel Hux, which I'm in the middle of Phasma right now, and a lot of it has to do with Brendel Hux.
Oh, cool.
So, now, and what's his name? Hux? What?
Armitage.
Armitage,
Armitage.
Yeah.
Armitage.
So Brendel, his father, is the one that...
Yeah,
that's a great shot.
The TIE fighter.
But I love hearing about Brendel. Brendel was in Aftermath a lot. Mm-hmm. He's in this book a lot. You find out more about him in this book, a Phasma book. But yeah, he's the one that started the program. I mean, if you think about it, and they actually mentioned it in the book, it's it's really neat to think that that they started, that the Empire or the First Order, when they reorganized, they started treating and training their stormtroopers very much like they did Jedi.
Yeah.
They took them from birth, and they just gave them a number. I mean, they didn't, Jedis have names, but they
Baby fan.
they worked them through, the program so that they knew nothing but the First Order. I mean, and it was working up until Finn. Now, Finn, for those of you who don't know, and I think, did you guys read the Before the Awakening? Before the Awakening book?
The Cliff Notes before. I haven't gotten to the book yet. I know the basic story of it.
The one about Finn.
It's
That
three
was a
stories in
short
there.
one.
It's
I
one
haven't
about
read it.
Yeah, it's a book about Finn. It's stories about Finn, Poe, and Rey, leading up to this movie. And what was really good about Finn's story, is that it just talks about there were a couple different situations in training, because this mission to Jakku in the very beginning of the movie was his actual first combat mission. So that's why he freaks out, because people are wondering, why at that point did he freak? Well, that was his first actual combat. Now, in training, he had questioned a lot, and he had done stuff like he'd gone to, like a planet that was I think it was like with miners on it, like miners, like coal miners, but not like coal miners, but
Yeah.
And they had to like just surveillance a bunch of them, and eventually they got, spoiler, I'm sorry, but they kind of wiped them out, and that's when he started feeling like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Questioning.
But what's really neat is that he had the stormtroopers in this I guess in the First Order, they kind of had squads of 4 where they always train with. So him and 3 other guys. Well, the guy that got shot was one of them in the beginning, so that was like his buddy, right?
Yeah.
And then the other one is the guy at the traitor at the end.
Traitor.
He was the one that was always butting heads with him.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's really neat to see the backstory. Now, the other one, I can't remember the other one. I think the other one maybe had died right before Jakku, right before that invasion on Jakku. But anyway, so it's a good backstory of Finn, and kind of explains why he's feeling like he does. And he, I was kind of surprised that we had a defected stormtrooper in this movie. I thought that was an interesting twist.
Yeah, I like that that storyline that he has. That he has we actually get to see someone that's on the other side of the line and who's kind of questioning it. And
do you think that was an original? Do you think that was in Michael Arndt's script?
I feel like I heard those rumors pretty early on, so I don't know if I think so. I would guess so.
I think there were a lot of, in the Art of the Force Awakens book, it's really cool, has some of the concept art that was in earlier drafts, and they have, between Poe and Finn's character, there were a lot of similarities, and they ended up, I think, taking one character that they had originally and then splitting it into Finn and Poe.
Now, do you think also on that long lines of the stormtroopers, do you think that, did you ever question or wonder that Kylo Ren looks too much like Vader or acts too much like Vader? Did that bother you at all?
No? It didn't bother me. And it makes sense for his character.
With the mask and everything, and
I think because early on they showed us the slightly melted Vader mask, and the fact that it was in the trailer of him, having it as a relic. So there was already this connection there between him and the helmet, and then him and Vader that you sort of connected the dots. I think that helps. It helped to not make it feel like it's just we're not even going to talk about that it's like Vader. They were like he's idolizing Vader.
Yeah. Did we ever hear him talk in the trailers? I can't remember.
Kylo?
Yeah.
Finish what you started.
Show me
again.
Oh, that's right.
It was like,
that's right. He did. Yeah,
yeah.
I think that was the last trailer.
Yeah,
that he did talk. Okay, yeah, you're right.
He didn't say grandfather though, which was
yes,
cool.
That's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love Rey's just reaction here. She's running. She looks so fierce.
Yeah, I've been watching this movie a lot the last couple of months because my daughter is obsessed with it. Yeah. So we watch it. Usually we get it all the way through this next sequence, which is, to me, it's one of my favorite sequences in all the Star Wars movies. This whole the Falcon and stuff like that. I remember seeing it in the theater the first time, thinking, Like that is what Star Wars is about, man. That's the fun, the excitement.
Two
It's like-
characters that necessarily shouldn't be together that are just pushed
Yes.
together and forced to, work together.
But just in his reaction at the end when he's like, "Whoa!" Like that is like the perfect line and feeling of that whole sequence. And JJ just nailed it. I mean, this is perfect. And the whole introduction of the Falcon, I thought was fantastic.
Everyone clapped in the theater I was in when they showed
Yeah.
it. It was great. And I love the whole thing that Finn does here where he grabs her hand when he hears the TIE fighter sound.
Yeah.
And she's like, resisting him. And then, once he gets knocked down, she reaches out. I think that imagery is just really cool.
Yeah, this is this is good stuff. So, are you see like so at this point? Are you a little were you a little worried or confused that we hadn't seen any of the original trilogy yet? Characters? Like no Han yet, no Chewie, no Luke, no Leia, nothing.
I guess because we had seen the
'Cause
Chewie were home.
We're about 30 minutes in now.
So trailer 2 was it ended with Chewie were home, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So because that was kind of already given to us, you go into the movie with that in your mind and you're kind of waiting for it. I mean, I think it's good that they let you get to know these new characters first. And because we are in a new trilogy, and it really is about these characters. The other characters are a big part of it, and they're mostly mentor roles. And hopefully, even in The Last Jedi, Luke fulfills like a mentor role for Rey. But it really is about these are our protagonists, and I think it's good that they let them have some time by themselves.
Yeah. Well, it's really good. It's really good pacing. It doesn't feel like it's dragging on until we get to those characters. You are, like you said, discovering, what Finn's trying to do, what Rey's trying to do, and of course there's Poe, which is captured at this, or well, actually you don't know what happened to him at this point. But again, I just thought I was wondering leading up to like how is the Falcon? I mean,
how's it going to show up?
Yeah, because the trailer clearly indicates that Han and Chewie didn't have it.
Yeah,
like we're home. It's like, I mean, I assumed that's what they meant. I felt like they just walked in. That's what it felt like, So, but right when he says this, I knew it was sitting there. Right when he says that, what about that? That's garbage. I was like,
well,
it's got to be the Falcon.
It's funny
because
it'd be super hard to catch it on the first time, but
you see it.
in
Yes,
the back.
do.
If they do a quick pan, like if really the most sharpest eye would catch it, but
Yes.
second time, I was like, oh, it's right there. Should have known.
That's a trailer. That was one of the first trailer shots. Now, what about BB-8?
I bet that's awesome.
You know what?
Fell in love with him immediately when I saw him in that trailer. That shot, I was like, oh, he's great.
I don't know how they were able to do it because you feel like they're just gonna take a robot like R2 and just try to reskin him, but he has his own personality.
Yeah,
He does.
And it's like I almost I almost want to see BB-8 on screen more than I want to see R2 at this point.
Wow.
And it's
that's because they've done it 3 times now with BB-8, K2SO, and Chopper. Like they've done great with these new droids.
Yeah, it's true. You're right. Yeah.
Like they've nailed it.
Which is
all-
which is funny because in the first 6 movies it was just R2 and 3.
Yeah.
those 3 that you just mentioned, they have 3 distinctive personalities
Yeah.
that are different, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
And K2 I think was such a hit because he could actually talk and
Yeah.
he's comedic
Yeah.
about it, you know what I mean? Versus 3PO he just happens to be clumsy and kind of, not mean to be funny, but K2 is just flat out just one-liners all the time, it was great.
That's great.
So that was the end of the first trailer,
Yeah.
that shot. Which I was actually a little surprised that made the movie. Like I felt like that was only just like a trailer shot.
Like a cool,
Oh,
look at this
really?
cool
Yeah,
little
'cause it was
move, camera move.
Right to the music, like
Yeah.
the Star Wars music. Opening crawl movie.
I love this. I love making it seem like you have to you can't just fly the Falcon alone.
Yes.
It takes a co-pilot.
Yeah.
They kind of set that up here.
And that was interesting that you had to actually have the shields on. to start firing back. Like he couldn't get control of his thing until. But just the, I mean, see, I remember Casey. I don't know if you remember, but when I think it was after we saw the movie, and we started talking about, you know, a lot of this stuff. But I started thinking, like, you know, one of the things that I feel like now looking back at the prequels, that Lucas made a mistake about.
Oh, right. Yeah, we talked.
Was that he didn't do what JJ did in this movie, which was kind of bring the nostalgic of what we remember from the original trilogy at all into the prequels.
Yeah.
Like, just imagine, I was telling him, just imagine if on episode 1, they, you know, their hyperdrive isn't working, they land on, you know, that Tatooine. Instead of getting it repaired, they win the Falcon. And they fly to the Coruscant. You know what I mean? That would have, to me, that would have changed a lot of people's perspective on the movie, because you get that nostalgic of it. We just didn't get that in, you know. I mean, think about this. I mean, how not dull, but how different would this scene be if that wasn't the Falcon?
If they were in the quad jumper.
If they were in the quad jumper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, the Falcon's a character.
Correct.
And so, you know,
exactly.
There's something that you associate with it. And maybe a lot of it is, you know, growing up with it, or, you know, some of it being the toys, you know, being younger. Like, I had a Falcon toy, so I associate that with those positive memories of being a child. So, you know, that might be part of it. And it's different for different people, but there is a character there.
There is. And you remember in episode 3 when he throws in the shot of the Falcon and everybody freaked out over it. You're like, oh my God, there it is. You know, it's like, I feel like if he just did a little bit sprinkling of that kind of stuff, it might have worked better for fans, you know. Even though again but it's not a merchandise thing, because people would have bought the thing again. It's like they bought this thing again, you know.
Right.
It's got a new dish.
It's got a new radar dish. Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, it's great. You know, I mean, the thing about this movie too is obviously the new cast. How good these actors are. Like, them two together is. And Daisy, you know, being the newcomer. Now, I had seen John Boyega before.
Attack the Block?
I saw him in. He was in the the season before this. Earlier in the year, he was in the 24 series with Jack Bauer, Kiefer Sutherland's last season, and he was only in like first 4 episodes, but he played a military pilot, a drone pilot, and had just one scene with Kiefer, and you know, he was under stress a lot, but he played it great, and I was like, wow. I mean, you can tell he is a good actor.
Yeah.
Now, would you see him in?
It's a movie called Attack the Block. It's really good. He has his accent in the movie.
Right.
But it's a really cool. It's a kind of like an independent movie, and it's, you know, this, you know, he goes on a journey with all these other kids, like in his little block, and you know, there's some aliens.
Yeah,
it's like a sci-fi thing.
Yeah, like goofy, kind of like, it's a comedy, like sci-fi comedy kind of thing, right? But like action, like, doesn't he have a katana or something like that? Like,
there's a scene where he's running with a katana, and before The Force Awakens, a lot of people made a gif of it and put a lightsaber in his hand.
Oh, right.
Once they announced that he was in Star Wars, and I just remember,
wow.
like seeing that all the time and thinking it was really cool.
I love the sound design in this movie. Like, the sound of his boots going against the floor, and just a little the Falcon earlier. Like, it just sounds great.
Even the sound of the Force when he pulls into him.
And also, this movie, it did strike me as different, where the comedy in this is different. Like in this scene.
Right.
Yeah, like Finn brings a lot of, I feel like, different comedy to
does.
Star Wars than I think what we're used to in Star Wars movies.
Sometimes it's
he's
it
very
catches you off guard.
Yeah.
With how Finn delivers lines.
It's more
but
like,
he's actually a very charming guy. Like, the way he talks, the way he carries himself is very funny in some instances, you know, so he's
I think, like,
but he's very natural.
And like, I think to the extent of like his phrases and some of his little gags, like "Droid, please," and other things, like it feels very Earth. I don't know how else to put it. It feels very like our universe.
Yes.
Like the thumbs up. Like, no one
Yes.
does that in Star Wars.
Right. Yeah. True.
He asked if she has like a boyfriend.
Yeah,
in
boyfriend,
one.
got a key boyfriend.
It's like I feel
one-
like we've never heard the word
no one
boyfriend,
said boyfriend.
in Star Wars, and
It
I don't
sounds
know why
weird.
that's weird to me. It just
Yeah.
is a little bit. But you can tell that he's having fun. You can tell
Yeah.
that John Boyega's having fun playing the role.
Yes.
Because it comes across in his character. He's almost kind of like the audience for a lot of the movie.
Totally. I
Because
agree.
he's experienced a lot of these things, for the first time. And he really is. It seems like he enjoys it when he's flying and does the woo.
Woo, he has a lot of those lines.
Yeah, he's great. He's fantastic. Do you think now? So let's speculate a little bit. How do you think his character changes in The Last Jedi now, with Rey going on her journey? What's his journey? What's his path?
Sounds like he's really trying to find his path, I guess, and like he's very. I don't know if he's going to be less comedic like this. I mean, he still kind of has some of the same lines because we heard in the trailer him sing like "Come on" or something like that to Phasma. His still is very like.
Well, and he says something like, I
One-liners.
know what I'm fighting for now.
Yeah,
or
so I
something
think
like
that's
that.
what he's doing. I think he's really trying to. How it's been described as he's trying to find whether or not he should still fight for the resistance or not, and find his purpose in life, that kind of thing. Since he's left the First Order, he just carries on kind of what it is here. Like this, it's like he's leaving the First Order, so he has nothing to fight for. And then Last Jedi, I think he finds that thing to fight for outside of Rey. Like I think he finds that purpose.
Boom.
Yeah. This is so cool. The smirk. The Harrison Ford smirk.
I remember seeing the behind the scenes shot of that.
Yeah.
Everybody just starts clapping like crazy.
There's like 50 people
Yeah.
right around that
Oh my
little Falcon
gosh.
set.
That is incredible. Yeah. Okay, now I have to address this now because I was a little freaked out in this movie when I saw that Chewbacca has fingers.
Oh, right.
Did you know that Chewbacca had fingers?
I don't know if I ever thought about if he did or not.
Because you don't see
honestly.
them in
You really don't.
the original trilogy
No.
at all. And I don't think, obviously, his action figure doesn't have fingers.
Like digits.
It's just like a paw,
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah,
It's just like a big furry paw.
Yeah.
I think he has like a thumb though, because all of his toys, you can hold like the bowcaster, and
Oh, okay.
so you kind of knew that.
But
he
it's all
had,
furry though. It's not It's not like
like
It's always
like
covered in
fingers.
fur. I was looking at the
yeah, like
Funko.
covered. It's like covered up, right?
It's always covered up. And
But I never thought his fingers were like black.
Exposed. Yeah, and
I thought
this
they
one
were
here,
all
it's like-
furry.
like furry fingers, like Sasquatch
Yes.
fingers. That's just like
yes.
they're way more noticeable.
When they
here.
showed in the trailer that he detonates
Yeah.
that thing, I'm like, that's Chewie's hand? Like he has a hand?
He has 5
And
fingers.
that really freaked me out. But now I see it all the time in this movie.
Yeah.
Like just now when you walked in, you saw him holding his bow.
Yeah.
And his fingers are exposed.
Yeah.
Normally it's not exposed. But I don't know. I might have been in the minority. I did not know he had fingers. Like regular, like human
Yeah.
fingers kind of thing.
Yeah, you
See?
always
You can
it.
see his thumb?
You always see it now.
Like it's freaking me out.
Now you'll never unsee
I
it.
know, right? Little side note: my neighbor down the street went to college, Penn State, with the new Chewbacca. I can't remember his name.
Johan,
Yeah. He was a basketball player. He played for Penn State, basketball player. So anyway, he's so I'm a 1 degree separation.
Fun
from him.
fact.
I gotta try to get him on the show. Actually, that's what I gotta try to do.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
There you go.
Work
That'd
that
be
connection.
awesome.
Yes. It's funny because I was with him, my neighbor at Halloween, and he was like, "Yeah, like we're like talking about Star Wars," and all of a sudden one of my friends was like, "Hey, Johan's in Star Wars?" Like, what? Who is he? Like, he's Chewbacca. Like, what? Chewbacca? Like, it's like one of the most iconic characters you can get in cinema because he's gonna be Chewbacca probably for. I mean, as long as they have him in movies,
He's gonna be Chewbacca forever now.
I mean, he just did
can actually
Han
do
Solo. He just
the
did
Han
Solo.
Solo
He's
movie.
Yeah.
got to be in episode 9 now.
He can actually do the voice too. He can do the Chewbacca sound.
Yes,
Which
great.
is hilarious. Toes. He's got toes too, a little bit. Like little tiny toes.
I didn't notice that. That's great.
Wookiee anatomy.
Yeah. Oh.
Now, and for those of you who don't know, Chewbacca at this point I think he's like 200 years old at this point. Yeah, they don't age that. That's why he's not old and gray like Han.
Yeah. He's aged pretty well.
Yeah, he's
he
aged pretty
combs his hair
It's all dyed.
very
dyed his
neatly.
hair.
Yeah.
Hairspray.
I think a lot of people have problems with this sequence. It's like a very side story.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to give you a lot of backstory and context with Han Solo in a really short amount of time right here.
Right.
But I mean, it feels fine to me. I guess I don't know.
I like it a
too
lot.
biased.
I wish that some of the Conja Club were actually aliens instead of all humans.
Mm-hmm.
I think they would help the world building a little bit for the universe.
True.
But I can see why. I mean, I think a lot of them came from there's like a television show that they are actors or stunt actors in.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why they used those guys. The Guavian Death Gang looks cool, and those helmet designs are actually a old discarded design for Kylo's helmet. It's in the Art of the Force Awakens book.
Interesting.
Yeah, the guy on the right, I think he's like an actor from Old Boy or some famous movie, Japanese movie.
Yeah, and you can get obviously with all the books, you can get more of the story of Han Solo, because one of the questions I had coming out of this movie was, well, are Han and Leia divorced?
Yeah.
How long have they been away?
Yeah.
What had happened? But it's not unless you read some of the books, namely Bloodline.
Yeah.
It's a big one, excuse me, which
No,
takes place about 5 years before this movie.
Aftermath talks about
Aftermath talks about it a lot. So just a little backstory on Han is that they are still married. They're very much married still.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to think of it kind of like you just talked about a little bit. Like it's not like Earth marriage where you live with the person all the time, and they still kind of do their own lives. He's a smuggler. He's kind of a smuggler, kind of independent contractor in a sense. So he's out there. And you find out, I think, he gets into racing or something like that?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Aftermath. Bloodline talks about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, Leia gets back into politics. So she's, helping Mon Mothma restart the Republic. Mm-hmm. And then eventually she finds this threat of the First Order and forms the Resistance. So it's not like they're trying to just live happily ever after somewhere and raise a kid. They're trying to be, public servants still.
They're working.
And they're working. And it just happens to be a big galaxy, so they just don't spend that much time together. But, of course, what happened with Ben Solo, Kylo Ren, it drove a wedge between them. But they didn't get divorced, technically.
Yeah.
They're still married.
Yeah.
What is it called? Rathars?
Rathars,
yeah. They're pretty scary. Yeah,
Ray's
Liza
reaction
makes me
is
skip
good
this
too.
point. She can't watch this part.
Oh,
She gets freaked out over this. Yeah.
It's like a ball. It's just a nasty ball. It just rolls around.
Yeah.
I was slightly bummed to see that The Last Jedi has a PG-13 rating. In one of the recent trailers or TV spots, it says that it's PG-13.
Yeah.
Because I've got a young nephew and definitely want to take him to see the movie. And
Oh, you wanted to be PG?
well, it's it's just easier because
Yeah.
you never know what kind of scenes are in it, and
Correct.
different parents have different guidelines and things, and you don't want to expose them to.
PG-13. So the only movies so far were Rogue One and Episode 3 were PG-13, right?
And before this, yeah. Well,
This
this
wasn't. Is this
This is
13?
PG-13. Yeah.
Sure. Oh, it is.
This is?
Yes, of course.
Is it
Look at
really?
this. Yeah, it's a lot. It's violent.
Right there on the poster.
Yeah.
Huh.
Actually, I'm surprised by that. I didn't think it was either, but
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. I'm going to say they're all going to be PG-13. I would
they're
say.
all going to be. Yeah.
I would think so. Yeah. This day and
I
age.
think this was PG-13.
Yeah.
It's
Sci-fi
violent,
violence or
yeah.
however
The
they
violence.
phrase it.
blood.
definitely.
I mean, lots of bloody print on dude's
Bloody
helmet.
print,
you know.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Such a good gag in this movie is this whole bowcaster thing.
Yeah.
It's like all this time, he never shot it, never once. It's clever. Very clever.
And this just feels like classic Star Wars. They're shooting
Yeah.
their way out
Yeah.
onto the Falcon.
Into the Falcon. The Falcon doesn't start up right away.
Of course.
Yeah, it's always
Yeah.
broken.
This is great, putting them together in the cockpit too.
And you could use a co-pilot? I got one. He's back there.
It's very funny. Like it's a little different, but it totally works.
So do you? So this is an interesting question. Rey, do you attribute her knowledge and just skills of piloting and mechanical stuff? Do you attribute that solely to her scavenging all these years, or is it a Force type sensitivity that's helping her?
Well, when she closes that door, I know it's not necessarily flying, but it has to do with timing. She tells Finn, like, oh, that was lucky, I guess. Like, she's almost trying to, like, hide the fact that she's really good at things, because she doesn't quite know how to explain why she's so good at doing something. And, I think that's definitely, her Force ability, giving her that sense of timing.
Well, she's definitely had a lot of time, to fly the Falcon. Like, she's practiced on it a lot, and she's scavenged, so she thinks that gives her the skill that she needs to be an engineer and a pilot. And I definitely think that she's spent a lot of time in it.
But I think all the best pilots, maybe besides Poe, are Force sensitive. Anakin, they always talked about, how great of a pilot he really was. And
Being a pilot, it's a good Skywalker trait.
yeah.
Okay, so did you think he was that big?
I can't remember. I was just thinking about
I
that
did.
too. Like, I
Yeah.
can't remember. Like,
I did not know that was a hologram. I was like, what is going on? This guy's a monster.
yeah.
I mean, I was floored. I was like, wait a minute.
No.
Yeah. I was like,
do this
what
to
the
me.
heck? How are they going to fight that guy?
Yeah.
But then,
Giant. I mean, why wouldn't that exist in Star Wars? It's a giant creature
yes.
that's Force
No, I'm
sensitive.
sure that, exactly.
That'd be crazy.
Yes, that's very true. Okay, so let's just start talking about Snoke.
Snoke theories.
Just, obviously we heard him in the trailers. We never saw him. In fact, I don't even know if I remember the first time, if I ever saw a glimpse of him before this movie.
I want to
I
say
can't
there
think
was
of-
I want to say there was an
he's-
Entertainment Weekly
look at
photo.
That, look at that gash in his head. I mean, it's like, how do you survive that? Mm-hmm.
So convinced that it was Plagueis.
Have you all read the
Really? Plagueis?
No, it's-
Have you all read the most recent Entertainment Weekly where
Like, that was surprising to me. When that happened, I was like, oh.
Ryan Johnson talks about Snoke? Have you guys read any of those
Nope.
articles? Okay, I won't mention it. But it's good. I mean, it doesn't really give anything away, but it asks some questions that are good.
Yeah.
I mean, because you talked about the gash in his
Well,
head
do you think
and all these.
do you think he's just an original character, or do you think he's tied to somebody from the past?
I think originally I wanted him to be like a Plagueis, whether or not he is Plagueis or they just redid Plagueis and made him into this new character. I think that would be a really good way. I think they still need to tie in all three trilogies, and the villain would be a good way to do it. But kind of like the whole Rey and questioning who she is, I think the closer we get to these new movies, I start to doubt my original theories or ideas and think that Snoke, like Rey, it might also just be a new character.
Yeah.
One of my favorite theories about Snoke that's probably not true is that he is a will. And much like how with like angels and demons, you have like fallen angels that Lucifer kind of thing.
I haven't heard that one.
He was a will that wanted too much power, and somehow some battle happened, and he became this dark side.
What exactly is a will? Like the pre-Jedi kind of thing?
Yes, like
Right.
The
from
very
Rogue One,
ancient-
the guardians of the wills, the guardians of the Temple of the Wills. I don't know exactly.
Was it like Journal of the Wills?
I don't know if they were force sensitive beings. I don't know if they were sort of these keepers of this, ancient something
I don't
that
think it's established now.
predates the Jedi.
I don't think it's canon what wills are they? I mean,
I don't think it's. I mean, I haven't read the Guardians book, so I don't
No,
think
I
it's ever
haven't
said
either.
in there.
But I
what
think
a
it's
will is.
but because all we had from
Looks
the
like.
past, I guess EU was the Journal of the Wills is what kind of was the book of the Jedi in a sense, right?
Yeah.
I think.
Here's this. Yeah.
So the wills, I guess, they were beings. in a sense, I guess. Well, again, I don't know if we know.
Yeah, I don't know if a will was like a species and like a, they had like a purpose. They were caretakers of this, of the sort of the Force and the keepers of that knowledge that ended up the Jedi were born out of. Again, we really only have stuff in Rogue One to go off of for what those temples were. But I like that because the Force being this whole light and dark thing, it kind of like would be an interesting.
Yeah,
just got captured in that moment.
Yeah.
With Han.
I
Sorry.
love that. They'll love that scene. Yeah,
easily get
awesome.
lost. Yeah, that was a good chunk of information that they just said there. That even watching for the first time or the 10th time, you're always so glued to what he's saying. You're always trying to find out more about what's going on.
Of course, he keeps the information that it's his son from them.
Yeah,
a boy, an apprentice.
My son, a boy, not my son.
Yeah.
See, like that little look there. It's just like, well, what's he thinking there? Like, because that's people kind of cling to like a look like that, and then later when she says her name, like he gives just like he pauses on that a moment to say like, does he know more than what he's saying? Like, did he hold on to that look with Rey right there because he felt guilty that she has never seen so much green in her life because of him she's on Jakku? Like, I don't know, like it's like little things like that. People wonder, does he actually know her?
Oh, funny. He just called him Solo.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, did you call me Solo?
You just call me Solo. Like, it's the name of your movie, dude.
Yeah,
I love how he doesn't like him calling him that though.
yeah.
He's so good.
I love it. Oh man.
That was kind of a Indiana Jones moment.
That was.
Right?
There's a lot of that in this, I think. Like
Yeah.
when he was fighting Conjure and Guavi and Death King, like just that little punch he gives,
Yes.
tosses him into the Rathar. Like, I feel like that's very Indiana Jones.
It's
Yeah.
Indiana Jones right hook.
Yeah, exactly. That loud punch sound that you always hear in the movies.
You got a name?
What do you guys think about Snoke? I mean, what do you?
I think he might just be a normal person or original character.
I
Thinking about bringing on some more.
from everything that I'm reading with the novels and the comics and stuff, I almost feel like
Be nice to you.
he is an original character, but I gotta feel like he was somehow involved with the Empire. Like, I don't feel like he just showed up and took over. And there's no mention of him in obviously in Aftermath, which I figured there would be, but in Aftermath you get a character named Gallius Rax,
Right.
who is a very prominent character in those books because he was kind of the guy the Emperor tasked with, the next step in the survival of the Empire in a sense, right? Of course, at least right now, we don't have any references of the Empire saying anything to Snoke or asking him to take over. So how he becomes the supreme leader of the First Order, I don't know how that happens, obviously, but I gotta feel like he was somehow already involved with them. I just can't believe that the First Order all of a sudden found somebody and said, you know what, you need to lead us. You know what I mean?
Well, and because the trailer for The Last Jedi shows that he has some kind of Force ability,
Totally.
so that makes it seem like you said, he can't just be some person they decided to make the leader or some
Yeah.
guy who just was like a political leader. Like,
Yeah.
there's got to be some.
So part of me honestly still feels that I kind of feel like I wouldn't be surprised if he was some type of failed clone. Like they were trying to revitalize the Emperor and it didn't work, but he has his own personality maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know, or maybe they tried to bring Plagueis back, or maybe they found like some experiment the Emperor was trying to bring Plague. I don't know,
Yeah.
Or maybe, is it even possible that is a clone of Vader?
Don't know, man. I would say
I don't-
anything's possible at this point,
yeah,
really.
You know what I mean? Because I'm not so much the scar, but
Yeah.
those are it could be burn marks.
Mm-hmm.
The way he, you know what I mean. But he doesn't look fully human, right? I mean, is he feel?
He's humanoid.
Humanoid.
Yeah,
They
humanoid.
keep saying he's humanoid, which
so
means
not,
that fully
a human. I think that means that he's
human-like.
a
Human-like,
different
but not a
species.
human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, but I don't know if we know what species, right? Which that's what makes it interesting that Plagueis was always known as immune, but they recanted that,
Yeah.
and they haven't released what his species is. So it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know, there's all kinds of questions of that kind of stuff. But does it matter? How much does it actually matter?
Who he is?
Yeah, I mean, could he just be a original character, and that's just the way he looks because he was in so many battles? I don't know,
I kind of hope. I do
Do
like
you
to hope that
do you need to
he's-
have a big backstory with Snoke?
I do like to hope that he's related to the prequels, so it can connect everything together. You know, more than just the fact that it's Skywalker's and it's Vader, and we know Vader's backstory. Like I want them to welcome the prequels into. everything
agree.
else. I hear like J.J. Abrams is going to reference the prequels in Episode 9, which makes me think like, well, are they not referenced in Episode 8? You know, so it's
Probably, maybe not.
You know, so it's I kind
want
of hope-
Coruscant.
Yeah, like, little things like that. But they don't. So it's
Shout out to
Hosnian Prime.
Shout out to
Yeah.
Adam Driver's acting with the helmet on.
Yeah.
You know, that's a tough thing to do.
I love when he lifts his head up a couple times in there. It's
Yeah.
like little movements like that really sell it. But no, I mean, yeah.
At least
I
they
hope
didn't
he is.
destroy Coruscant, so that's
Yeah, it's true.
so they can actually go back to Coruscant.
Yeah,
maybe.
true.
That's where I would live in Coruscant if I would live. So much. I just love that place. Okay, so what about Maz? Like the thought of Maz, of the character of Maz.
Yeah, surprised at how much I liked it. I liked her.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Andy Serkis's company, they do a great job with motion capture, and you know, it's incredible.
Wait, he has his
what
own
you-
company that does this now?
I think
Yeah,
it's called like the circus or something. They call
I think it's like some kind of a
They call it something. I don't know what it's
I
called.
didn't know that.
Imaginarium or something.
Imagineering,
like
that's what it is. Yeah,
Yeah, he is
No, you're
rich.
right.
Yeah, so he.
Yeah. He's got his
You know,
own.
they did all the
his
motion
own thing.
capture for any of the mostly I know for Maz and for Snoke, but
I'm assuming they do all like the Planet of the Apes movies and all that stuff.
They do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anything he's in, obviously. He is. I mean, I was all about him being that whole. I think it was at the Lord of the Rings series where he was like, he's got to be nominated for an Oscar for something. I mean, this guy, the way he acts is unbelievable.
and
I think
for-
it might have been the first Planet of the Apes movie that they were talking about.
even I watched the most recent one not too long ago, and I mean his performances they get better and better
Yeah.
each
Wow.
Planet of the Apes
Yeah.
movie.
Now this was Lupita Nyong'o. Is that her name?
Yeah.
Nyong'o, yeah.
She's doing motion capture in this. See her, as Maz or whatever. So she's not a full like complete CG. I mean, it is CG, but it's someone acting in that position. No, again, I like her because my favorite character is Yoda, and I feel like there's a lot of Yoda, and like she's the Yoda in
Yeah.
this series, in this trilogy. She's the one that's been around for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
She's seen it all, and I love that line that she gives
older.
there, where she basically does sum up what has happened in the prequels and the trilogy when she says, I've seen it in different. It's the dark side.
Yeah.
I've seen it in different forms. First, it was the Sith, which was episode 1, 2, 3, Then it was the Empire.
Separatists.
and now,
She should have said.
She should have said separatists. You're right.
separatists.
She
Sith,
should've.
Empire.
You're right. But ultimately, it was the Sith. 'Cause
Yeah.
She knew it was the Sith in the background, right, the
Yeah.
whole time. So it was the Sith, and it was the Empire, and now the First Order.
Which kind of makes you think that we might not get the term Sith used again,
We might not.
because now it's just dark side user, Kylo and
But
it's
I-
whatever
I-
Snoke is.
But see, I kind of feel like that's one of the reveals. I
Is
feel
it
like
Sith?
that will be that Snoke will be Sith.
Why would that be a reveal? I think it's
Not a
just
reveal,
it's
but I mean,
naturally-
I think. But like you said, I think a lot of people aren't expecting the mention of Sith.
Like that could be a connection to the
Like
to
the whole rule
other
of two thing.
trilogies.
Like,
Yeah.
has that continued? Like, I feel like that's. I feel like that's out of a lot of people's minds. That the whole Sith,
Interesting. Yeah.
the Sith died with the Emperor. There's dark side users now, still in a sense, I guess.
I just always assumed it would be
But
Sith.
so you think he's Sith? You
I
think
thought
Kylo
that's-
is?
I thought
think
that was a
Kylo
given.
considers himself Sith?
I thought it was
Oh,
given.
okay.
Yeah, that Sith, the new Sith.
See, if they show his training, that'll be really interesting
But if you look up, I think
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if you look up Sith still in these, that these guys aren't in that group yet.
They never use it in any of the Force Awakens material or promotional or anything online. It's always just dark side. Like they purposely don't use it, which I thought was kind of strange.
Because there's no
first.
Jedi either right now, which is
Yeah.
dumb. Kind of. Like that's what I expected to see if we ever saw in Episode 7 was a full working Jedi Order again.
Yeah.
With Luke as the Grand Master, you know, his whole council. That how awesome would that be?
Yeah.
Like that old Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy game.
Yes.
You ever play that?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Yes. And
Kyle
you
Katarn.
read a lot of those books, right? The New Jedi Order and all
Yeah.
that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
So
Oh, it was huge.
did he have his own council? Like it was
No, it was not.
He didn't have
not
a
much
council?
of a council. It was just like an academy. It was just
There were
a lot of
different
masters. Yeah,
masters,
just a lot of
yeah.
masters, and they had their apprentices, and they just went off and did their own thing. And they didn't sit around and talk all day.
But how awesome would that? To me, that would have been awesome to go back to Coruscant
Yeah.
and see him in that spire with 11 other new masters. You know, it's like
It's because Luke had his academy though on Yavin 4
yes, he did
in the
right.
Masazi Temple.
That's right. I don't know. I just wanted. I want the Jedi's back, and
Yeah,
because the
I know.
Jedi's are
Yeah.
a big part of Star Wars lore and what fans love, and I feel like we're just not getting. You know,
Maybe that's what Ryan Johnson will do. He'll bring the Jedi's
maybe
back.
hopefully.
It's definitely going to explore, the origins of the Jedi, which will be
Hopefully, yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, we're just not getting enough material yet in other forums that take place between 6 and 7 to see how far Luke got with training people. How many Jedi did he actually train?
A whole
before
temple
this
and
happened?
everything looked like. Yeah.
We don't even know.
We don't know. And then there's the saber. I had to buy it. So
Yeah.
it's sitting back there. I had to buy it. It's the most iconic saber, obviously.
It's calling to you.
It's so awesome.
Pretty cool.
I love how it's just in this box with like some handkerchiefs and some beads and
Right.
stuff.
Now the story of that has to be revealed. How did Maz get the saber? Right.
Yeah.
At some point, yeah. Needs to come out.
So there's Empire, which is awesome.
I love the special effects.
Yeah. And then famous
the
shot of the trailer.
I hated that it wasn't real.
I know,
that it
right?
was a vision, but it's still great. That is still the biggest mystery to me.
Who
This-
that guy was?
Well,
Or-
yeah. Who did he just kill? All these dead
Now,
bodies.
you see the temple back there, right?
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, you do.
What you assume is the temple,
Temple
and
or
then the Knights
something.
of Ren. But the weird thing is, when you think of the timeline, and that being the temple, maybe the temple was just part of the vision. It wasn't really where they are.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
a background thing. But Ben Solo, Kylo, probably wasn't wearing his Kylo
No.
attire when he killed or destroyed the Jedi, if he did, in fact, kill and destroy them all.
That's true. That's true.
I think he would have been. I mean, why
You
not?
think he had
Oh.
the helmet?
Yeah, why
You think
not?
one day he was just like, "Hey, Luke, guess what I got?"
Well, I
Well, that
think
might have been
that's
his
part of his
turn. That
thing.
might have
It's
been his
like
turn.
he's donning his new persona, so that's his new persona. So he's wearing it, and that's his first act as his new persona.
It's a little
That's
Ben Solo
Kylo
just
Ren.
making his helmet in his room and
Yeah.
hiding it in his desk.
Well, I think maybe he just got it from Snoke.
Snoke probably gave it to
Yeah,
him,
he just it's part of like the initiation. It's just like here you go.
Yeah, like I love this scene where she talks about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, she
Now
looks
see this
real.
She does.
So real.
Didn't
It's
this
very
throw
good.
this threw me off a little bit? I don't know if it threw you off.
Apricot eyes.
But this line here when she says they're never coming back, but there's someone who still could.
Mhm.
And she says Luke. I mean, isn't that weird? Kind of like she's acknowledging that Luke could have came back for her. Like that, because I remember
I don't
when
think-
hearing that first,
couldn't-
I'm like, wait
I
a
don't
minute,
see
is
it
she
that way.
saying that Luke is the one that dropped her off, and then could come back?
No, I don't. I think she's telling her what her purpose should be.
I think she's trying to focus her to look forward.
Yeah.
And not dwell on the past, like sort of like an old Jedi sort of saying or training. What little she knows of actual Force or Jedi training, she can pass on.
Yeah.
I don't know, just the way the lines were said there.
Yeah.
Because she says they're never coming back, but there's someone who still could,
Yeah.
who still could come back. And she says Luke all of a sudden. I'm like,
Well, the other thing I find is the fact that she has such a connection to someone that she doesn't even know. That's
Yes.
that's
Well, true. Very true.
I think like
Why does she say Luke in that moment?
Like why does she feel like that's why does she come to that conclusion? Because she's always heard of him as stories within
and
like
throughout every place she's been in this movie, it's been brought up.
yeah.
There's a map for Luke Skywalker. Han Solo knew Luke Skywalker. The Jedi are real, So it's like all these things that she had read and learned is starting to come to reality. And but that right there was the main reason why I started thinking like, wow, it shows she might be Luke's daughter. Mm-hmm. And that was my theory for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm kind of on the fence again now about that, but that's a great looking shot right there.
Yeah.
I think he's great right here.
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised by his performance in this, by his character.
I'll just mention real quick because I saw Phasma there in the background.
Yeah.
If you want to know Phasma's background, you got to read the book, because what you think is her background, you have no idea. It is a way different story than I expected, and I just leave it at that. You need to read it.
Oof.
I'll say one thing. I like the name of the planet she comes from. It's called Parnassus.
Parnassus.
I like that name.
A new planet?
It's a new planet called Parnassus.
Is it outer rim, inner?
It's very outer, almost in the far reaches, because it's separated. There's no really any civilization much there. It's just her and her people.
It came awfully close to that Star Destroyer.
Now I didn't realize this either, but Star Wars doesn't take too much into account the physics of things. Mm-hmm. But because like normally you wouldn't see that. Obviously, you couldn't see that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In real time. Mm-hmm. But that beam of light is traveling hyperspace. Mm-hmm. Like that's a hyperspace beam.
There's Chancellor, far left.
Chancellor to the left, yeah. And that's Corsella, who is one of, if you read Bloodline, that was one of Leia's aides for a while.
There's a deleted scene with her and Leia.
Yeah, there is, yes. Yeah. And for you DC fans, she's Vixen in the Arrow series.
Okay.
She was good.
I love how Finn's character here is just like he's more jumping into action than even than Han is at this point.
She's tired.
What are you doing? Let's go back.
So again, we've only gotten one of the original trilogy cast member. Well, two, I guess, if you count. But I remember watching this movie in the first couple of viewings, thinking, I wasn't really. I was so into what was going on. I for a while I didn't even think about Leia or Luke. Because there's such a good story going on right now with Han, and this truly is. In the end, it truly is Han Solo's story. I feel like this movie. I mean, it introduces Rey and Finn and Poe, Kylo, but this has really been, to me, Han's journey in this movie. Great shots. Too bad for Maz's castle, because there's all kinds of stories there.
It's such a cool looking place.
Yeah.
Seemed like a lot of decent smugglers in there.
It's very much the
What's
modern.
this guy doing?
Yeah. Very much the modern cantina. There's all these stories you could have got out of that. In fact, one of them is that assassin that called this in.
Bazine,
yeah. I read that book, The Perfect Weapon. It's pretty good. It's okay. Now, in this scene, too, I think, this whole thing here, this is where, for those who don't know, it's like a lot of real known actors and people that they voiced a lot of these stormtroopers in this. Like Kevin Smith's one of these guys. I think Sam Witwer's one of these guys.
He's a lot of them.
Yeah,
him
David
and
Collins, who we've had on
are a
the
lot of
show.
these troopers.
Yeah.
I hope so too.
They brought in a lot of those guys to voice over.
So I believe that they even do it. I think in Rogue One too.
Yeah, they did.
Some of them are
You're right.
Collins.
Yeah.
James Arnold Taylor, I think, might be a voice in. Oh, love it.
That is like
Love
what?
it so much. That's so cool. Very Indiana Jones and Han Solo and Harrison Ford.
Go! I need a weapon. You have one.
Idiot, look at your hand.
Yeah. What?
Oh
It's a weapon. All right.
I thought it was a paperweight.
Yeah.
This scene with Finn and the lightsaber, I mean, it's really interesting because, outside of, Han cutting open the Tauntaun, you don't really see non-Force users with lightsabers.
Right.
Using them in battle, never.
And I have a problem. That was violent right there.
That
Yeah,
is.
that's pretty
violent.
violent, yeah.
So this guy,
Just shoot him. What? Don't do that. Just shoot him.
I think he's nines. They call him nines.
Yeah.
Traitor.
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 Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe nines was the guy that died in the beginning. I think.
I had a huge problem with people's critique of Finn about, I guess more at the end, how can he hold his own against Kylo Ren?
Kylo, right.
It's like, well, why is it hard to believe that he just is good with a sword? Which he is in the book, right?
And again,
He's
yes.
trained.
Well, that's what that is. That is
he was
to
trained with
combat
that.
lightsabers, and they're trained on that.
Yeah,
kind
so
of
it's like,
stuff.
why is
So
it-
he
why is it
is
hard to
good at
believe?
hand-to-hand combat. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about that. But whether or not he can survive against a Force user, that's
Well, and Kylo's pretty beat up at that point.
Yeah.
He's got a lot going. I mean, he just...
and Snoke even says it. He doesn't have
Yeah.
complete his training yet either. He doesn't maybe not know as much as he thinks he does.
He's in turmoil. He's being conflicted by the light and dark. He
Yeah.
gets shot. And
Yeah, you take out those ships with your blasters. That'll work.
This shot here, I remember this in the trailer. This is one of the best shots
Yeah.
coming over the water like that. That was just
love the music here, too.
awesome. Yeah.
The Resistance theme is really cool. Really glad that they decided not to let Poe die, because that was an early version of the script.
Really?
On Jakku, Poe was just dead.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
wow.
never- and that's why they never really kind of show what happened with him.
Which-
They just decided, like, oh, we'll have him come back right here.
It's like
That's true. We haven't seen him since, right?
But you show
Yeah.
him in the trailer in a later scene.
So you knew he didn't.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
because they just showed that where he's in the cockpit of that X-wing.
Well, they didn't show him on Starkiller Base either, I guess.
Maybe they showed it from there too. I don't know, but it's just like, do people really think he's dead? Well, first you don't see a body.
This is, I mean, 1,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4. What does he hit? 5, 6,
He's the best Battlefront player ever.
plus 3 troopers.
We get so many credits.
7, 8,
Yeah,
9,
yeah.
10. I mean, 10 TIE fighters.
It's like Darth
Isn't that-
Vader. He's like Darth Vader good.
I mean, like, they can't have that much more TIE fighters, right? I mean, there's only like probably 20
Yeah.
of them there.
This one guy.
And he took out half of them.
Yeah.
That was good. That was a good scene though, with him doing all that.
Look behind you. You're looking at the same two places.
Love that haze in
Yep.
that shot.
I was thinking this.
Hazer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Light beams.
Hello, peekaboo. I like that she just was aimlessly shooting. I like that. He should have jumped up. Force jump.
It is crazy when you see here Kylo at full strength, just how much more imposing
Whew.
he is over
That
everyone.
just how they move too. Like, it's very scary. It's a good move. Freeze him.
So, what do you think about? I mean, I'd not seen Adam Driver act in anything before this. What do you guys? Have you guys?
Well,
Did you guys know about him before this?
I mean, I just read about it. I knew he was the guy from Girls, but I never saw Girls. But I just knew that's
I watched.
what he was from.
I watched a few episodes of Girls, and I saw him in it. I mean, he's great in it. Plays a very different character.
Yeah.
I think he is probably one of the best parts about The Force Awakens.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
especially with a lot of the criticism The Force Awakens gets for being like a rehash. You know, a lot of
Right.
people say it's a lot like A New Hope. Kylo, Ben Solo, is the thing that is the most different. You know, even though he has similarities to Darth Vader in his looks, him as a villain who's not fully formed, who's still training and struggling, you know, all the villains in Star Wars are already, you know, they're already there. You know, they may be apprentices to the Emperor or whatever, but they're not really training. You know, they're already like at that level.
Right. Huh.
Aside from Anakin and I guess Revenge of the Sith, but he's already a very, very powerful Force user.
And I'm more drawn to him as a character, like human. Like there's such humanity, and I feel for him more. Like I absolutely, hate his guts because of killing Han Solo, but I still like really love him, and I feel for him a whole lot, and for his conflict, because you can feel his conflict a lot through Adam Driver's performance, like his facial expressions, his mannerisms, and just the delivery. It's very powerful. Oh, here we go.
And here's the reunion. Leia.
It's been like a few years, right? It's been like 5 years. I mean, since the whole everything went down with Ben Solo, like they haven't seen each other since then. It's like 5 years.
I think
5,
it's
6 years.
been at least that, right? Or no? See, in Bloodline, which was about 5 years, I think, right? She didn't know.
5 years before everything happens, and then 5 years before, like Ben becomes Kylo Ren and kills everybody. And then from that point to this, it's right. No, it's been
No. Bloodline is about 5 years before this movie.
So, but it's like,
But
so it's
she
really
remember
shortly
she had not
before.
heard. I think she says in there she had not heard from them in a while.
Right.
She didn't know what Luke's doing or what's Ben doing. And
Yeah.
I don't think they know. So I don't think we know when that actually took place.
Right.
And we don't know when she found out that, oh, my son turned on Luke, destroyed everything, and now is with the First Order. I don't know if we know that whole timeline yet.
Yeah.
So I guess you got to think it's been about 5 years or so that.
Yeah.
Because this is the first time they find out about Starkiller Base, right? I mean, they don't even know about Starkiller Base till now. So, but there's been rumblings of the First Order. I mean, because remember, Leia is according to the books. I mean, she brought it to the Republic that look, there's the group out here that is very threatening.
Something's happening. Yeah.
And the Republic are like, no, they can't do anything. They don't have the military might because we have all the ships now. We have all all our soldiers. But she separated herself, formed the resistance to fight the First Order, and she's been doing that for a couple years now, at least, leading up to this movie. Nice little bromance there. Awesome.
Bro Dameron.
Bro Dameron. Yeah.
Dameron. I love this moment. That's my jacket.
Hey. You stop, Smith thought.
I remember people talking about that pre-movie, like, is he wearing a different jacket?
Yeah.
Or is it Poe's jacket? What's about it? How's he getting about it? Yeah.
It's just like, there's so many. It's very similar to Yavin 4. It's
Yeah,
like
very
it's
similar.
fair. This movie is so similar to A New Hope with little twists. Like it's desert planet, but it's not Tatooine. It's Jakku. It's like this is kind of like Yavin 4, but it's a little different. And so it's like
they're on
an icy
Dakar,
planet.
right?
Yeah, Dakar. Kind of an icy planet, but it's not Hoth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Starkiller Base.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. And it's not a Death Star, it's Starkiller Base.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Very scary.
I love how her outfit is kind of like Han Solo-esque. The medical.
Yeah. So how C-3PO get that red arm?
there's a comic.
I never read that comic.
I actually started it and didn't finish it. So
Okay.
I never got to the part where he actually got his red arm.
To be discovered.
But it's the story is about he gets stranded with a bunch of different droids on a planet.
Yeah.
And all these droids are trying to work together, trying to get off the planet. And I didn't get to the part yet where he lost his arm, but I'm assuming he loses his arm, finds another one, and just puts that on.
It's R2. Turn him on.
This is always one of those things that was
Wake him
talked about
up.
right after The Force Awakens. It's like, why is R2 sleeping?
Mm-hmm.
Why does he just conveniently wake up when it's time
He's
for him
so
to
sad.
like
He went to
help
sleep.
the plot?
Well, what the rumor is, or what I read too, is that he, I think he finally awakens because he senses or finds out that
He's
the other part of the
listening.
map is there
Yeah.
now. So he knows he has the rest of the archives
One
from
half.
from the Empire or whatever, all the galaxy, the maps and everything. And
Wait, isn't it there right now though?
it is, but for some reason he hasn't got it into the system or something like that. I don't know. People were like, or maybe the threat had to be finished or something
It's
like
said
that.
somewhere.
Obviously, yeah, it's who knows?
Yeah.
Well, it's because JJ doesn't want him to turn on to the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's
It's in the script.
It's convenient. Leia talks about Snoke in this scene, and I think that's interesting.
yeah. She knows who he is.
You know, they clearly know who he is or that he exists, but I almost wonder, did they know who Snoke was before Snoke seduced Ben?
Before he
Like,
got
was Snoke
Snoked.
around, or was Snoke someone
yeah, that's
known
that's
but
what we were
not
just talking
He was an
about.
intern.
a threat?
Yeah. He was some intern that just won't stop talking. And one day he showed them.
Was he?
Yeah.
Did he? You know, was he working with Luke with his new academy in some way? Who knows? I don't
Cal
know.
Katarn.
Yeah, and that's because that is a question of before Ben turned, was there a different apprentice, or was there someone else? If there's this rule of two still at all, those first 20 years or so, was it just Snoke, or did he have somebody that was, on his side doing what Kylo's doing now? But maybe that's part of how Kylo turned, had to defeat the other apprentice. Who knows?
Does that thing really need to flip up?
Now that was a little.
So good
I feel like that was a little spoiled in the trailer too, because in the trailer, like you said about that scene with him and Finn at the end, he doesn't have his helmet on, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So he takes the helmet off at some point.
Just saying, like this moment where he takes it off wasn't as big
It wasn't
of
as big a surprise.
reveal.
No, to me it wasn't.
Well, I think because you knew it was played by Adam Driver, that kind of like, that moment doesn't really. It's supposed to be a big moment. He takes the helmet off and he's like this suave-looking guy. You expect him to be like this
Very
monster.
suave.
Fabio.
Clean face. He's a boy.
Well, I did read that. Did I read this, Casey, or did you bring it up? I think that the main reason he wears a mask is to actually hide his identity of being Ben Solo.
Oh, I don't know.
Because if the First Order or these people knew that he was the son of, they wouldn't believe that he's all on their side. So I read that there was maybe that's a theory I read or something like that, but that he wears that mask to conceal his identity, more so than to just be that Vader-esque person. You know what I mean? Kind of like a superhero, I guess. He puts his mask on, right?
Yeah.
When he goes out to do his deeds.
So cool.
This is pretty
This is a
awesome.
cool twist here.
Yeah, very good, very big twist.
So Rey, has seen this island where Luke is here.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting.
See, yeah.
She
So
sees the
so wait.
future.
So is it the future? Or is it a memory that he's pulling?
I think she does see the future. Like, that's known. So I think she's just kind of seeing that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Or
So he's not going because you remember in the campaign on Battlefront,
yeah.
you see that how it works when
yeah,
he
it
starts
does compass.
probing someone's mind, right?
Oh, that was really cool.
Yes.
I think it's either she sees the future or she just it's the same time, but she just sees that it's happening at the same time. I don't know.
You're afraid.
Nice.
Because now she's seeing
Got
his
him.
mind.
Yeah.
What's in his mind? Reading his mind.
As Darth Vader.
How dare you? Why did you say that name?
Now, do you think she even knows who Darth Vader is?
So that's interesting.
Huh?
Did she just say it because
That's what he's thinking.
she's seeing his thoughts, so she is able to kind of feel his thoughts, and I think she unlocks obviously able to read his mind there with the Force, but kind of unlocks a little bit of Force ability by seeing how he's doing it to her.
Yes.
And which I think is teed up later, when she's able to escape. But that connection that they share, I think will be really interesting. I don't think that's the last time we'll see that Force mind connection and how it plays out with them.
Do you think Snoke's robes? He looks like he's wearing gold robes. Is it?
I feel like he's wearing a gold robe there.
Yeah, because that's Last Jedi. It looks a
Yeah.
little sparkly.
I do. I feel like it's...
Because his hologram has this dark bluish
Yeah.
tint.
Yeah.
His face is very pale
Yeah.
and white, but it seems blue there.
It's so starkly different than what we see in Last Jedi. But I mean, I guess it's what he's always worn.
One thing I forgot, and just reminded me seeing Kylo there with Vader's helmet, and we saw Rey and the Force back with the lightsaber earlier. When he's talking to the helmet or talking to Vader, his grandfather saying, "Show me again the power of the darkness." I started thinking it'd be really neat if Kylo had a Force back when he interacted with
Yeah.
Vader's helmet for the first time.
Yeah.
Or these other relics, maybe that's why he's looked for or found these relics, because maybe that was an early connection that he had to one of these Force sensitive kind of artifacts.
It's awesome.
That's Daniel Craig.
Mm-hmm.
Also, that's Trooper outfit. That's awesome.
I think the rumor is that Tom Hardy's going to be a stormtrooper in Last
Oh, he
Jedi.
is? Oh, I didn't know that.
There's a couple
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, too, I think, right?
Really?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt's rumored, or he is in it. I think Ryan Johnson said he was.
Yeah, that's right. 'Cause he's like in every Ryan Johnson movie.
Yeah.
The princes and the royal family are in it somehow. They're
Oh,
in a
yes,
cameo
that's right.
of some
Yeah.
sort.
Yeah.
I say I keep waiting to hear Tom Hardy's voice because I figure it's going to be like a classic gruff Tom Hardy. Just better finish him up real quick.
Do you feel
Yeah.
in charge,
Do you
Kylo?
feel- yeah. It's like, wait.
I love this moment. It's
Yeah. Wait.
Let's go the other way.
It's just, man, it's just the Matt the radar technician stuff makes it so funny. Like
So let's chat
attention
about
thing.
that a little bit. Did you
What's
feel like watching this movie it was too similar to episode 4? Did you walk out of it thinking it was too similar to episode 4?
Honestly, I didn't.
That's
I
my
mean,
least
I think it
far from my
it
thoughts.
took reading reviews and reading articles about it to really kind of see you mentioned just the landscapes and
Yeah.
how much it lines up, and there's a super weapon that's a spherical thing that they have to destroy.
And they have to disable the shields.
Like,
That's the one plot line that I think I could have just had without. Starkiller Base was obviously necessary for them to destroy the Republic fleet, some kind of weapon.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was this big, large Death Star, and they had to do this attack run in the trenches that we've already seen, I never felt like they didn't stand a chance against Starkiller Base. I was like, well, Poe's going to fly in there and just blow it up. Like, I've seen this before. So.
But that's not where I mean, that's the same thing. But then thinking later, it's like, that's not where I thought maybe the biggest conflict was. Like, I wasn't even worried about the fight. Like, I'm so focused on the Kylo Rey fight. Like, the other dogfight stuff is just eye candy. But one thing here that's always bothered me is that why don't they show Death Star 2? Because that's probably very similar in size to Starkiller Base.
Well, I don't think so.
Yeah.
It was only a little bit bigger
Death
than
Star
the first
2
one.
wasn't that much larger.
It wasn't that much
Are you
larger.
sure about that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure about that.
I'm going to look this up right now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, didn't they say that Starkiller Base? I mean, I don't remember how large, but it is like astronomically larger.
Yeah.
Than the
Oh yeah,
first Death Star.
it was the Death Star 2 was not even. I mean, it wasn't even double the size of the first one.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
very different from what I thought.
Yeah, you can see the actually one of the books I got has the comparison sizes in it, but
Good old
that
Greg-
was
Greg
dramatic. I mean, that's a
Grunberg there.
planet. You know, like the Death Star was a battle station. They actually modified a planet to which, again, I don't know how many years that takes to
Yeah.
to do.
Hopefully they
but-
started immediately.
Yeah, yeah. Because you can see, like in that diagram too, like they had to dig pretty far. I mean, get to the core because the sun charges the weapon. You know, that's in the. And they mentioned, I read about how they, just like the Death Star, that they added, you know, hyperdrives to that planet so it can hyperspace to different places, because you have to think about it. It has to find the sun to destroy. So not only does it destroy things by shooting its weapon, it destroys suns in solar systems.
Which that has to have a huge effect on the solar
All the planets around.
it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There's a lot of physics there that. Such a good shot.
That makes you wonder. That actually makes you wonder if they even Starkiller Base has an atmosphere.
Yeah.
So when they drain the sun right then, it doesn't change the atmosphere of the. Again, they don't
Kills all life on the planet every time they do it.
they don't really care about physics too much
Yeah.
in the Star Wars universe. They just kind of throw that kind of stuff out.
Yeah.
And how similar, obviously, this all looks to the Death Star too. You know, like also not Death Star 2 necessarily, but also, you know, it's like everything's kind of made this. You know, looks the same. Star Destroyers are the same.
The light panels and
The lights,
sleek
yeah.
designs.
Right.
Right, Chewie, get ready. And now. I am pulling up. I get any higher, they'll see us.
It's just great. Classic Han
Yes.
It takes a
Solo.
beating. I feel like it should be crumbled. That ship.
Just like fall apart.
Yeah, it's like
yeah, I know.
smashing really hard against. It's tough.
Yeah. It's the Falcon.
Yeah.
It's got shields.
It's got shields. Yeah, that's right.
I wish they included the deleted scene of Kylo boarding the Falcon in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Would have gone, I guess, somewhere after this scene.
Han Solo.
Yeah, I love how he talks about when he mentions the Force here. Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good.
So funny.
That's pretty good.
We'll get in that way. Sanitation.
Jeez.
And how do you know how to disable the shields? I don't. I'm just here to get
Gosh, dude, what? He
Oh,
risked every
man.
like.
The galaxy is counting on us. We'll figure it out. Force.
He's so excited. Like, what?
How the Force works.
God, how the Force works.
Yeah, that's great.
There's been some great memes and GIFs on that line
Yeah.
floating around the internet.
Report.
I mean, yeah, because even hyperspacing, I mean, even hyperspacing close to a sun has got to affect the weather or the
Yeah.
atmosphere of the even Starkiller Base. But you know, again, maybe the shield doesn't do it. Let it
Sure.
change anything.
That
right?
works. Yeah, let's go with that.
So that's another thing. What about Phasma? Were you upset how little we got of Phasma? Or
I
did
wasn't
you
upset.
think about it?
I was
mean,
surprised, but not upset.
I was surprised too.
I mean, I think when you think about a lot of she has a lot of similarities with her helmet design to Boba Fett. Boba Fett was not a large part of, Empire Strikes
Yeah.
Back. He had a larger role in Return of the Jedi, but
Right.
I think she'll have. I mean, obviously, the trailers for The Last Jedi, she will have a larger role with that showdown with Finn. Be really interesting to see what happens there. Will one of those characters not come out alive? I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah, I was. I just feel like they. I just feel like they marketed her a lot.
Yeah,
You know, leading up to the movie.
definitely.
Because there was figures, you know, she was one of the special
Halloween
figures in the Elite
costumes,
series. People were talking about her. I mean, even Gwendolyn Christie was out there doing press a lot for the movie. And all of a sudden, it's like, I mean, I forgot, like, even watching this just now, I'm like, I forgot about her until we just saw her again right there. And what was her role? Really, just to turn the shield off, you know?
I thought right here, once she said, like, she does, you know, does something on the console, and she says, "You think that would be that easy?" I thought she wasn't turning the shield down, and she was like alerting, and it was going to go a very different.
What do we do with her? Is there a garbage chute?
Do you think we'll ever? Do you think in any of these movies she'll actually remove her helmet?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so?
Oh yeah, they have to capitalize on showing that
Boba Fett doesn't.
It's a woman.
Yeah, no, that's the thing is I'm thinking of the mystery and how much, you know, a lot of the Star Wars characters, they like to play off of that mystery.
I don't know if we'll ever see her face. I don't know if we'll ever see
I'd
it.
be very surprised if they.
Do you think
Didn't show her
she
face.
makes it through The Last Jedi?
I think so.
You think so? I don't know.
Maybe her helmet will get like knocked off in the middle of a fight.
That's a good question. I kind of feel like she will. Just because I feel like there's got to be some more story there with her.
It's just another more conflict for the third movie.
Is she now? Her backstory. I know you're reading the book currently. Her being a captain and her armor seems very unique. Is there any other stormtroopers or captains that share that chrome-plated armor?
Not
Or
the
is she-
chrome.
Okay.
Actually, there's one that the movie is or the book is kind of it's. I got the book right here. Actually, there's one that the book is actually about too. Is the red. So there's a red stormtrooper. They call it the Cardinal. They call it Cardinal. So the story is kind of centered around him and Phasma. So it's a pretty interesting again kind of story that because it's present day, which is kind of not present day. It, actually, the book takes place right before the Force Awakens. It leads up to Force Awakens, and Cardinal. You know, there's story with him, but you're getting, which is kind of right before this movie, but most of the book takes place in, you know, how Phasma got to be part of the First Order from Parnassus, and her relationship with Brendel Hux and her loyalty to Hux and stuff like that. So, but she's straight up Phasma. You know, that's her given name, her grown up. You know, and where she comes from, they don't have last names. It's just that's why she's only Phasma.
Like Cher.
There's
Yeah,
a bunch
like
of
Cher.
divas on that planet.
Yes, but
She
she
wa-
comes from a whole planet of warriors. So it's like
She wanted to sing in cantinas
Yeah.
and ended up in the First Order.
Yeah,
Could have been somebody.
yeah.
It's in the code.
That was weird. The look he gave him. But yeah, Phasma. It's. I mean, I'll give my full review on the show, but it's like, it's okay. It's not. I'm about 2/3 of the way through it. I still got a good 4 hours left, I think, of the audiobook, but. Of course, it's very well done. It's read by January Lavoie, who is really good. I think she did a lot of the female writers' books, like Claudia Gray's and stuff like that. She did Bloodline and stuff like that. She's really good. So
Just randomly, because I saw one of the X-Wing pilots is the chick from Iron
from
Fist.
Iron Fist, correct?
Didn't know that.
Yep, that's her.
Cool.
Yeah, I looked her up when I watched Iron Fist.
Recognize the birthmark or the,
Yeah.
the beauty mark.
Yeah, I looked her up
beauty mark.
when I saw Iron Fist, and I didn't realize I saw her credits. It said
Yeah.
Force Awakens. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And I found out, put it together. She was one of the pilots.
Did her character survive this?
I
battle?
think she
Oh,
does.
wow. Now I'm gonna, yeah,
I think she does survive. Her, Snap,
Nien Numba.
Nien Numb, right? He survives.
Yeah.
Now this is very reminiscent of the bunker in Return of the Jedi. You know, like planting all the
Yeah.
detonators everywhere.
Come on.
Yeah,
Oh man, it's the last time they saw each other.
That's so sad.
I know.
Oh, it's hard to watch this again.
Like Chewie's reaction, like that's so powerful.
It's my reaction. I wanted to shoot him.
Yeah, I know, right?
Have y'all seen those cartoons?
There's his fingers.
Oh, fingers.
Sounds like what?
Chewy fingers. The cartoons of it's got this shot of Chewie right before he
Oh yeah.
shoots
yes.
Kylo, and
Yeah.
he's got his head right in his scope, and then he has this memory of young Ben playing with him,
Right.
and he.
What is that?
It's a fan.
It's a
thing.
fan art thing.
Oh man!
But when you think about it in the context of, Chewie played with young Ben, probably picked him up, put him on his shoulders.
That's true.
What's the best part of that little cartoon though is he has like his head in his crosshairs, then he thinks back on all those memories, and then he moves down to his side. So like purposely hits him in the side because he don't want to kill what essentially is his nephew.
That's interesting.
I love that.
There's a whole deleted
not
scene
canon,
there. Too.
but-
There's a whole
Exactly.
deleted scene there too, right? With that speeder thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense why they cut it out. Probably didn't really add anything to the story, but
All right. So, truth be told, did you, up until the scene, I mean, did you think Han Solo was going to die?
I was almost 100% because of this last conversation with Leia. That hug, just bring our boy back kind of thing. I'm like thinking that's too.
Well, and again, I think it was somewhat
And then-
possibly spoiled in the trailer.
Right here. I was like, oh, it's
He's
gone.
dead. Yeah, I at this point, you
It's
kind
like-
of knew.
I love that is the only time that Ben's name is said in the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, when he steps on the bridge, it's coming. I don't think I knew it was coming in the even the beginning part of this scene.
Oh, I didn't. I thought he was going to be around the whole trilogy.
Yeah.
I really didn't. Till right here, though, I'm like, there's no way he survives. There's no way. How's he gonna? Especially because of where they're going. It's like it's one thing if they were just back in the hallway or something like that, but they're out. I mean, how does he walk away from that?
Just let him go, man. There's no rails on that.
No rails.
What is the point of that thing?
That can't be up to code.
It's horrible.
The Empire would have never had
They
a
ran out of
bridge
funds.
without rails.
No, I knew that was coming, but it's like, but I'm with you on the when he was hugging Leia. I didn't necessarily think that totally then, but again, the trailer somewhat could spoiled some kind of death, or maybe not death, but someone seriously injured. That shot of Rey looking up crying. There's someone laying there.
Yeah, they really shouldn't have used that in the trailer.
No.
Looking back at it,
Yeah.
and that was a really
Because people start
spoilery
speculating:
movie.
is that Han? Is that Finn?
And for a second, I thought it was Chewie.
Chewie, because it looked like
Yeah.
there was a lot of hair right there. So
Yeah.
but I don't know. I feel like they hinted at someone getting seriously hurt, and once this happened, it's like, oh, okay, well, even though that scene is not related necessarily to this, but
It explains why Harrison Ford was so happy during all the marketing, though.
Yeah.
right.
Did all the stuff.
Slightly relieved to close that chapter.
But what a great how do you say this? Like, how do you describe, like, because you kind of misdirection here, because he's saying, I need help.
Mm-hmm.
Will you help me? But he's not saying it. I mean, at least I take it like this. He's not saying, "Help me come back to the light. Help me go darker to the dark side."
I still am on
You know
the
what I
fence
mean?
about it, honestly.
You're on the fence about it.
I think he's struggling. I think he
Really?
I think he's.
Well, I think he's struggling, but I
this
think
whole
he's
thing right
struggling.
here.
But he knows, because when he says, I know what I have to do, I just don't know if I can do it. To me, he's saying, I know I have to kill you, but I don't know if I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Not that saying that I know what I need to do, which is come back to the light. I think he's saying, I know what I need to do is I need to kill you. Will you help me? And a lot of people think that. Some people, I've read rumors that people think that Han turned the lightsaber on.
Yeah. I think watching it, there's no
way. Yeah, I don't think so.
way that it. Just the fact that he thrusts it in a little more.
So you're on the fence case, though?
I think it could go either way, yeah. I mean, I don't know if I believe one way or the other. I just think it's up to debate.
I don't think he would hold out the lightsaber like that.
Yeah, just chop them down.
Yeah, if he was saying, like, I know what I need to do, I think he would kind of keep it a little closer. I think there's a moment where he's like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to just, I'm going to come with my dad and I'm going to do this. And then he kind of... I think for him, all his teachings from Snoke and everything he's been told is that the light side is, bad. Like, we've always grown up thinking, don't fall into the dark side.
Right.
Don't be tempted by the dark side. And for him, it's like that temptation is the opposite.
Gosh, it's hard.
Chewie just goes
Hard to
crazy. I
watch.
love it.
Chewy fingers.
Fingers.
Chewy, that's a good candy. He's be chewy fingered. He's
Chewy
good candy.
fingers. They look like gorilla fingers.
Yeah.
That's what they really look
Yeah.
like.
Shoot him. Shoot him now. Shoot him. Shoot him. Shoot him. He's hurt. He's wounded. Shoot him. Shoot him again.
He looks so evil.
Just shoot him. Right there. Nope. Okay.
Yeah.
Go fight later.
The oscillator's been damaged, but is still functional.
Now, he must have had some force speed because he got outside
Yeah.
really quick and ahead of them. Like right now, he's ahead of them.
Yeah.
Focus this way.
So did you think? So here, obviously he's there right now. But I mean, did you anticipate? I mean, at this point, did you anticipate a Rey Kylo lightsaber battle?
I don't think I did.
I don't know if I did either. Really?
I don't think
I think
so.
I was really holding out Luke showing up at this moment.
Wow.
I
Really?
was like, this is it. Third act. Luke comes in, saves the two youngins.
Finn takes off his mask. And it's Luke. Oh, what a psycho. He's hitting himself.
See, that power there does make it hard to believe that anybody could fight him.
Yeah.
But I'll just let it slide because it's it's a movie.
Well, Jedi rarely, dark side users as well rarely use the Force. Like moving and pushing things, I feel like while they're fighting. So I feel like so concentrated on the fight.
Yeah, and I always feel like, especially like, you remember when I think it's evident mainly in episode 2 when Obi-Wan and Anakin show up to fight Dooku, right? Dooku electrocutes Anakin, fights Obi-Wan, and then fights Anakin. And you can see when he finally knocks Anakin out, like he's like exhausted.
Yeah.
So like using the Force really takes it out of you.
Oh, yeah.
So like you could, that's why part of me feels like, when you're using the Force and you're fighting, I mean, you're draining yourself. You're not, it's not like an endless supply of energy. Like it takes energy to use the Force. That's why it was always cool. I felt like in video games, like I remember the episode 1 video game. I don't know if you remember it came out, like you can be Plo Koon or
the Jedi
Mace,
power
and
battles.
you had a Force meter that you had to wait to build back up.
Yeah, I mean that's all.
Yeah,
pretty
most
much
of them are
all
like
are.
that. That you use it. I mean, it drains you,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to kind of recharge. I mean, that's kind of to me is kind of what happens with.
Speaking of the Jedi Academy game, that's what was so great when you found the cheat code for unlimited force.
Yeah.
So that you just never run out.
He's never
Just constantly force speed. You just constantly kicking butt.
Now, I've mentioned this a lot in our show too, but in the novel, that scene right there,
Yeah.
there's a line in the novel when she catches the lightsaber. He turns to her and says, "So it is you."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he recognizes, at least according to the novel, that he recognizes now who that is.
Mm-hmm.
Like he knows about her somehow.
Because he dropped her off on Jakku.
Is he yeah, that's true. It's possible. Or it could be the girl that he knows Luke hid.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah, she was right
there
there.
she is. Yeah. Oh, no, that was her. Yeah, before that.
Red 4, Red 6, cover us. I'm on it. Roger. Everybody else, hit the target hard. Give it everything you got.
Everything? Don't save
Everything?
save a few missiles or proton torpedoes.
Posting
Fire
everything. you got.
everything. Because there's that one bad guy afterwards.
I need some help here. I need some help. Coming in.
Do you though?
That was her, right?
Poe Dameron.
Trench run.
Poor Elo. What's
Elo,
his
Elo Asti.
name? Asti.
Is it Elo?
I
don't know.
I don't know how to pronounce
Who?
it.
I said Elo. I always go,
The,
hello,
alien in
Asti.
the
Oh, I don't know.
X-wing,
I
He
can't-
just
I
bit
don't
the
know.
dust.
Yeah.
Now, wouldn't you, as an engineer of this Starkiller base, wouldn't you think like, well, hopefully, maybe you did your research.
You're
like,
trying to ask
okay,
a
so-
logical question.
Yeah, like okay, so they flew through the trench of the Death Star.
Yeah.
They flew into the interior of the second Death Star. Now, what I'm going to do for you guys
Yeah.
is in our trench, I'm going to put the ability to you to be able to turn on these like lasers.
Yeah.
So you can't fly down the trench.
Yeah.
You know, like in Resident Evil, that hallway, all these lasers
Yeah.
come up. Like, I'm just going to do that for you, just in case.
Yeah.
You know, all of a sudden you see some X-wing flying down the trench. You just hit a button.
Yeah.
You don't. I'm not going to even put turrets up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Just a wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a wall. Yeah, just a wall every once in a while. You know why? Yeah, hilarious.
Yeah.
Because it's in one of those books too. I remember reading that the Emperor. It says the Emperor cloned
Yeah.
the
It wasn't
architect of the first Death Star so that he wouldn't make the same mistakes in the second Death Star.
something like that.
Something like that. I don't know. This is so weird. You know, I mean,
Not gonna
I like this battle just because of who they are, but
Yeah.
it's not really a. To me, it wasn't really that great of a choreographed lightsaber fight. You
It's
know,
not,
like
it's not a fancy fight.
yeah,
I do like how raw
It's raw.
it
It's
is.
It's very
raw, I
raw.
would say. It's raw.
very raw. It's very like episode 4, almost episode 5.
Yeah. Episode 5, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
These shots are great.
Yes.
Blue,
Yeah,
or
teacher.
the blue and red together.
Well, I'm glad that they figured out that
yeah.
they can actually use colored
Yeah.
swords, so you can get the reflection of without faking it. I mean, they had to still
Wait,
CG the coloring and all that stuff of the sabers, but they actually used the FX lightsabers to.
The fact that he wants to teach her there, and Snoke said, bring her to me. I think that's
Rule
really
of 2.
interesting. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, you talked about the rule 2, but Snoke wants her.
Oh, I know they
And
both.
Kylo
That's the whole.
wants
That's
her.
that's the whole thing about the.
Well, the
Sith, is
Emperor wanted
Emperor
Luke.
wanted Luke. Vader wanted Luke. That's the whole. I mean, it's the whole thematic theme of the Sith.
It's basically like
Oh.
whoever's the strongest is just going to survive, and they know that, and they just.
Yep. Yeah, it's just like Vader said, right? We can destroy the Emperor and
Yeah.
rule the galaxy as father and son. It's like he's saying the same thing. We'll join forces, kill Snoke,
Kylo and Rey ruling the
Kylo Ren, rule the
galaxy.
galaxy. Yeah.
Can Rey go dark side?
Sure.
I think it's possible.
Oh,
Oh.
the face.
That was a good move. Good move. Good move.
And their face. Yeesh.
Does somebody
Yeah.
have to lose a hand in Episode 8 in The Last Jedi?
Sure.
Like, isn't that like kind of like a given?
Yeah.
It's a thing. Yeah. You just pull him in. Pull him in with Catherine.
Just happened to split them right.
Yeah. It'd be great, though, if actually she needed to be on the other side to go to the Falcon. So they swap sides.
Right, yeah.
Thankfully, I ended up on this side.
Or if Finn was on that side.
Yeah. Dang it.
Sorry, Finn.
Now, how many? I mean, I would think. I mean, maybe I don't know how many First Order people evacuated it, but I'm sure they lost a lot of soldiers on this.
Yeah.
I mean, their whole freaking
It's a planet.
order is.
Like, were there
on
cities
right?
on there? Like, were there had to be?
Well, I guess it's a question of
dwellings?
where. We don't know where Snoke is yet, right?
Right.
We don't know what planet he's in.
Oh, it could be just on a ship.
If he's on a ship or
Right.
at some other facility,
So it could be a whole nother group of
bathroom.
First Order there, obviously.
Yeah.
Where he's at, like maybe.
Well, his ship is
even more
gigantic.
so.
His ship is pretty huge.
Oh yeah, he's
So
got.
he's probably got a lot of
that's
people on
right.
his ship.
So you think he's on a ship or a
Well, it
planet?
could be. I think he could be on a ship. I don't know. Don't know.
Chewie.
Could be Coruscant, maybe. I don't know. Not Coruscant. Probably not that.
'Cause you almost feel like, Starkiller Base was their headquarters or base
Yeah.
of operations.
That's
and
what
they
I
had like
assumed,
they
yeah.
had like Star Destroyers and all that stuff. Huh. So I say one thing that I didn't think about until our good buddy Chad Perkins brought it up after the several days after the
survived.
movie. She did survive, yeah. Real quick, remind me about that about Chad, but I loved. So we met Greg Grunberg. He came to Lexington Comic Con here a couple years ago. One of the best stories that I heard. Remember, he told us. He said he was on set because he's buddies with JJ. He's been long time buddies. He's everything. And he's I think not everything, but he pretty much is in everything JJ does. Right? Not, I mean, he's not in it, but
It's I mean, Star Trek. He was in Heroes.
He was
yeah.
he wasn't in.
That wasn't JJ though. Sorry. He was Star Trek.
He wasn't in Super 8. I don't think. Right?
I don't think so.
Anyway, best friends, grew up with JJ, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. Anyway, so he gets the call to be in this. He's Snap Wexley. The best part is he's on set in his X-Wing doing the lines. Have you heard this?
I have.
Yeah. And they keep telling him, okay, do all these lines like, whoa, yeah, go get a Poe, and then all of a sudden, okay, now, say, I'm going down. He's like, no, I'm not saying that. I'm not going to say it. And like,
I didn't know what
you
that
have to
means.
say it. No, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say anything that insinuates that I'm going to die.
Yeah.
And they say they called JJ over. They're like, Greg, what are you doing, man? You got to say the line. He's like, I'm not saying the lines. So he's like, okay, he's not saying the lines. So there's nothing in there of him dying. So he has to survive. What a smart guy.
Smart.
Yeah, it's a good move.
When you're best friends with the director, I guess
Yeah.
you can do that kind of stuff. But anyway, so Chad brought it up. I wanted your thoughts on this as R2 wakes up. He said
Oh hi.
his biggest disappointment of the film coming out of it is that we never got the reunion of Luke, Leia, and Han on screen together. He said that was by far the number one thing he wanted to see in this movie.
Yeah.
Number one thing.
Number one thing.
I agree. I think that's a very good point.
And I didn't even think about it until he said it. Like, I'm like, wow, you're right. We didn't see that, and we never will now.
Yeah.
That is a little. I mean, I don't know. That's a little upsetting. Do you feel like that was in the original script?
Probably.
Well, I did.
don't know,
I did
actually.
read in the. There's articles. I don't know where I read it, but the Michael Arndt scripts. A lot of the struggles early on was he was writing scenes. I don't know how much of the Han story. Where he came in, but every time he wrote Luke in a scene, he just took over and stole the scene.
I heard that too.
And so then Han won't be able to really be this mentor because now you've got Luke, and Luke's going to be the mentor you really need at that moment, because Han is great, and Han can, do these things for the characters, like get them, to Leia and the Resistance. And but every time Luke came in, he was basically stealing the show. And so I do think originally that was they were gonna. I don't know. All three of them were gonna be together, but it seems like Luke was gonna be a part of it a lot earlier. And it makes sense now why they, for acting, having Harrison be the mentor and leading this movie and saving Mark Hamill and Luke, for The Last Jedi and potentially moving forward. That makes a lot of sense thinking about how would you write a scene with Luke showing up and Harrison Ford, and Han Solo. What do you do at that point? Well, the heroes are going to go with Luke off into battle.
Was that? Do we know? Was that a J.J. Abrams call or Lawrence Kasdan call? I mean,
I don't know
when they changed it. Yeah, because you remember when the whole story about how J.J. finally got involved was Kathleen Kennedy calling him and saying, who is Luke Skywalker? Mm-hmm. Who is he? And he's like, I got to do it now. And it's funny that who is he? Well, you don't know. You take him out of the movie, basically, and you make it a mystery of who he is during this movie, because that's the thing too. Is this goes back? This still somewhat extends from the original trilogy in the sense that, no one believes that the Jedi even existed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in the original trilogy, they were extinct also, right? Mm-hmm. And apparently Luke didn't have enough time to really reestablish the order to make it known to the galaxy that the Jedis are back. Mm-hmm. It seems like no one knew that he was starting this new order, and no one really knew that, because
they weren't necessarily part of the Republic or any part
exactly
of the politics.
Yeah, see, they weren't the Guardians of the Galaxy anymore. Where did I just?
Whoa.
That'd be an awesome
crossover.
Yeah, but that's what they were known for, right? The Keepers of the Peace, right?
Yeah.
So it's like everybody knew about the Jedi back then, even though it was hard pressed to see one. There's 10,000 Jedis, but with all the worlds and stuff like that, people never really. Which is funny because you get that in a lot of stories now. In the stories around the original trilogy, is that a lot of people don't know if Vader's real. Like they think that he's this myth that people make up for fear, but
right
when he actually shows up, they're like, God, this guy's real, and all the stories are true. But so what was your feelings seeing the end of how this movie ended?
I didn't want to leave the theater. It's like
I will sit here for 2 years.
Okay, where's what's Luke gonna do next? What's he gonna say? You didn't have him talk? What?
Yes,
that was the biggest, probably.
But what could he have said? What could he have said here?
Oh, hi, Ray.
Shouldn't be here.
What if he said
shouldn't
it?
be here.
Yeah.
Who are you?
For the longest time, I keep thinking that's a tombstone.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh, it's sitting beside
I know.
But I don't think it's anything. Really.
No one has talked about it.
I think it's a rock.
Yeah.
It looks so much like a tombstone.
Probably a rock. Huh? What? Are you Luke? No, I'm not. Oh, okay.
Luke.
See you later. At least he still wears clothes. He's on his island by himself.
Still dresses like a Jedi.
It's like you can do whatever you want.
Now, do you think the rumors are? I think the rumors are that he doesn't actually have his green saber anymore.
Is it actually rumored?
It's that poster kind of people start speculating.
Fake. I mean, it's not fake, but it's like it's Photoshop. That's not. He's not really
The
holding
international one.
He's not really holding anything there.
He's holding a saber.
He's holding
it's
the blue saber, right?
But doesn't that not look Photoshopped to you? That's his real hand. When I first saw that, I immediately thought that's Photoshopped, him holding a lightsaber.
Well, I think all of them holding the sabers and the posters are Photoshopped. They're just stills from here up, and they just put the arm.
Put an arm, and a lightsaber
really?
in there. So it's like he probably never holds that lightsaber.
I don't know.
I don't
think
like
they would
insinuating that he has a blue one now.
I don't think they would put it in the poster, even though it's international. I don't think they would put it in there.
If he didn't,
like Finn had it in all the marketing, and he used it.
True. Yeah, I think he's got. Just according to that poster, I feel like he has a blue lightsaber. and that the hilt was different than the
Is
one.
it? I couldn't tell if it was
Oh,
really different or
I
not.
think the hilt was the.
It's the same. I
the
think.
it was.
Or I couldn't tell if it
No,
was
the hilt is not a hilt that you've seen before.
I think
if
it
you
I
look at
honestly
it.
don't think it's distinguishable of what it even looks like.
The what I saw of it looked like a whole different lightsaber. A different lightsaber. If you zoom in on it, I felt like it was a different lightsaber.
Could have been in this movie, guys. I auditioned for it.
You did audition for it. That's right. Would you go to Nashville for that? I think.
Went to Nashville.
Yeah.
Took one look at me. Was like, nope, go home. Didn't have it.
could have been Finn.
So we got to talk about real quick as we're wrapping up here. Director JJ,
Yeah.
how good did JJ do in
I
this
think
movie?
he did great. I
Yeah.
think he did great. No, it's
I mean, this is
Debatable,
this is
but-
my favorite Star Wars movie.
It is your favorite?
currently. Yeah,
Okay, well
it
we're about to
definitely
do rankings here.
Okay.
So, I love JJ. I think I've been a huge fan of JJ Abrams for a long, long time. I mean, he made me like Star Trek movie, which
Yeah.
is not possible usually. But I loved what he did, especially with the first movie. The first Star Trek movie was phenomenal. But yeah, huge fan of his directing style, the way he, and the way he's a fan too. So happy that he's coming back for 9.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, the cinematography, the camera moves, all those things that he uses in The Force Awakens. I mean, there's that opening, not quite the opening shot, but opening scene where BB-8's on Jakku, and you've got that sort of epic Spielberg shot where the camera tilts down, BB-8 kind of comes up into a close-up, and then the camera kind of dollies around. Just that kind of movement in movies isn't necessarily used a lot, and it's definitely a Spielberg kind of style that J.J. Abrams has used in a lot of his movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it fits in the Star Wars universe, and I think it kind of helps give it some of that that feel that just brings you back to an older style of movie making, but still feels fresh and new. So
Dave Filoni's a voice as well. It says in there.
He was, yes, he was.
So there's what that saber
We're
looks
looking at
like.
we're looking at the poster.
Yeah, see, that doesn't look anything like.
The little notch, though, it feels like
That's not.
it could just be really bad Photoshop.
I think it's just a very
That notch there.
blurry.
That's a
looking-
lot higher. That's a lot higher up.
I just think it's
because
not good
the
Photoshop.
blade, it's not. The blade is not. It's higher up. On that, I'll show you. But anyway, so we got to get to the rankings here. So now we're finishing up. Now we have our full ranking. Now I actually just moved 7. I just moved 7.
Whoa, dude! We gotta go back and do all the other commentaries now.
No, because we didn't play 7
Retconned it.
yet.
Just
but I just
dub
kind
it.
of moved it
Yeah.
a little bit.
Episode 7.
This is the last one. So
6.
you
What?
got to give me what's your ranking. All 8 movies that are out.
All 8.
All 8.
So
Rank them.
we're going backwards, forward. What?
Bottom to top.
Yeah, start from the bottom.
Oh, bottom to top. Man.
We do this with all our guests, Cody. So
Okay.
you gotta do it.
So prepare
Last
for
place
this.
goes to Attack of the Clones.
Okay, I think that's consensus. Actually, I think that's everybody's.
Are you-
It wasn't everybody's.
No, actually,
D-
Anthony, I don't think had it.
D House had very different.
D House had very different.
different
yeah,
order, which
you're
I
right.
liked it too. Actually,
So go ahead. 2.
Just keep going. Okay, so from there up, let me just think through real quick. So Attack of the Clones, Phantom Menace, Revenge of the Sith,
Ooh, man.
and then I'm gonna
Prequels
go.
at the very bottom.
Yeah,
that's a Chad. That's Chad. Right there.
Yeah, that was Chad.
I'm gonna go with Rogue One is still so fresh. It's hard to work that one in. I'm probably gonna go A New Hope, Rogue One, Return of the Jedi, Empire, Force Awakens.
Yours is very
Wait.
close. Did you miss one?
Is that 8?
I think that was good. Yeah, I think that was.
Oh, so you went.
Yeah.
You went episode 4, Rogue One, Return
Return of the
Empire.
Jedi, Empire.
Okay.
Yours
okay.
is very close to mine.
And then Force
So what
Awakens.
you got, Case? Finally, your
Well,
final review.
if you've done the math out there, this one is
Yes.
number 2 for me. Which the
Number
thing
2.
is,
Oh.
Cody has the guts to say what I can't say is that 7 is number 1 for him, which it probably is number 1 for me as well because I do love it so much. But I'm just very scared to say that it's my number 1 favorite. But
Yeah, it's not
pretty much
it's
is,
not-
but I
it's-
can't say it. It's hard for me to say
If
that.
you're gonna turn on a Star Wars movie this weekend, which one are you gonna?
It'd be
turn
Force
on?
Awakens.
There you
Yeah.
go.
That's what I was like.
See, it wouldn't be for
Yeah.
me.
Okay.
yeah.
Like what's creeping up? My we revealed earlier. I mean, my number one is Empire.
Yeah.
But right behind Empire for me is actually Rogue One.
Oh.
I love Rogue One.
Yeah.
And every
great.
time I watch that more and more, it gets better and better. For me, what's your full list now, Case? Go. You had
I'm just going from the top down for this.
Oh, yeah.
So, Empire, Force Awakens. Shoot, I think it's Revenge of the Sith is next, but it's getting to be a lot to remember, guys.
Yeah, that's why I
There's
have
too
my
many
list.
movies now.
No, I have my
I didn't know.
list.
I didn't know I was going to go through the whole thing. Okay.
Rogue One is the one that I think
I
is
have
hard to.
actually have my old list too. Empire, Force Awakens. Jeez, this goes differently so many times. Right here it says Rogue One,
Yeah.
but that might change.
Yeah.
Honestly, then Sith, then Jedi. Return. We'll call it Return.
Yes.
And then A New Hope and Phantom Menace and Clone Wars or Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I'll go bottom to top. I had Attack of the Clones, Phantom Menace, A New Hope. Now, before, if you go back to the Return of the Jedi, I actually put Return of the Jedi fourth, and then I was going to put this fifth, but I'm actually since switched. So Return is fifth. This is 4. I got it right, pretty much neck and neck with Episode 3. I really love Episode 3 still.
Yeah.
And then Rogue One, Empire is mine. As of right now.
Rogue One,
So-
right up there in the top 2.
Oh, Rogue One is so good. I really feel like it's really, really good. Now, okay, so now unlike our other commentaries, little twist here. Go ahead and give a prediction. Where does Last Jedi gonna fall?
We were just talking about this today a little bit.
I mean, it's hard. All the trailers, the cinematography, the camera angles Ryan Johnson uses are just, it seems like vastly different than anything we've seen.
Yes.
Even more so than the stuff we saw in The Force Awakens, just from the little bits that we've seen. I feel like it has the promise to be the best looking Star Wars movie. And the fact that they gave Ryan Johnson a whole trilogy
I
of
know,
movies
right?
almost
Before they even had shown the movie. Yeah.
almost
Yeah.
makes you think they think that they have something really special here. So I
And it's
feel
2.5
like
hours long. It's the
I feel like
longest
The
one.
Last Jedi. Right after seeing it, it's gonna be like right up there in like my top 3 because it's how I am with movies. And it took me a while to like sit on The Force Awakens because for a while I thought it was like my second favorite.
Yeah.
But then I thought more about it and I was like, I just like this movie a lot more.
Yeah.
I like the characters more. I like J.J. Abrams' directing style more than George Lucas, or well, more than Kershner.
Evan Kershner. Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Case,
so hard
where-
to guess.
What'd you say? What were you thinking?
I think it could potentially be my most favorite. Yeah.
I do. I think if there,
But
I
I've
do
said that
think-
about every Star Wars movie so far.
Yeah,
that's come
I don't
out
know. I was hard
since.
pressed to. I mean, going into the prequels, especially, I never thought that. I never thought they would be better than Empire. I figured they could probably be more my favorite than
Yeah.
4, especially 4. But 6 was really 1 and 2 for me. 5 and 6
Mm-hmm.
were 1 and 2 for me for a long time. I loved Return of the Jedi too. But I do think if there's one that's going to beat the story and the tragedy that is Empire, it could be the Last
Yeah.
Jedi. I mean, again, that's why I like Rogue One a little bit because it's different. It's very, it's dark in a way that's not dark side Force dark. It's just dark because it's a war movie, you know, and it's such good acting in that movie. But I definitely think that this is it's going to be a whole different tone to this movie. It's going to be. I think it really is going to be exactly what Luke says in that trailer. It is not going to turn out the way you think.
That's what I keep thinking.
I mean,
we're gonna be surprised no matter what we say. It's
no
gonna
matter
surprise
what we say. I mean, we're going to do our predictions next week before the movie, or 2 weeks, I guess. I really have no idea what I'm going to say because I don't know. I have no idea what the movie's about.
them. Yeah, it's tough.
It's so
tougher.
tough.
Can't wait.
I can't wait. So we're less than 2 weeks away. I'm sorry, we're just over 2 weeks away. By the time this comes out, we're only going to be 1 week away because this is going to come out December 7th. 1 week away. And we are very happy that you kind of watch these, and obviously you can go back and keep watching these. These are hopefully good insights in the commentaries. We didn't want to, the whole point of these was really about diving a little bit more into just the Star Wars universe, not just focus on the movies all the time, but kind of dive into, all the stuff that we're getting with the books and the games and the comics, short stories. I mean, all of these things, even, animated series, TV. I mean, it's just, it's all connected now. And it's just opening so many different possibilities with stories and storytelling. And, I mean, we're just going to be getting movies and movies. Like you just said, Ryan Johnson's doing a whole nother trilogy. We got Solo coming out in 5 months.
Yeah.
I mean, in
insane.
5 months, we're getting another Star Wars movie. So with all this happening, it's like there's so much to talk about. There's so much to enjoy. I'm just immersed into it. I mean, I'm driving to and from work listening to Star Wars. I mean, it's amazing. We remember when we started the show, Casey, we talked about it. We're like, at some point, it's just going to be everywhere. Yeah. And it is. It's all over the place. But I don't feel like it's, it's in what?
You don't think it's too much yet?
I don't think it's too much. I mean, I think that the stories are strong enough to keep it going. That's I mean, there's definitely some stuff that's not great.
Yeah.
But they haven't missed on a movie yet, I feel like. And as long as those keep going, I think the love of Star Wars is going to keep going. So, anything else you want to add, Cody?
I just can't wait for The Last Jedi, man. I want to fast forward to whenever this comes out. So it's going to be a week away.
Right. Yeah, totally. So we're seeing it 6 o'clock, opening night, fan event here in Lexington, Kentucky. We are then going to a showing the Friday afternoon the next day. I actually got a theater rented out for all of us. So we're going to just enjoy it again on Friday. And I guarantee I'm going to see it again that weekend. So, we appreciate everybody sticking with us. We hope you guys go enjoy The Last Jedi. Of course you will. One last prediction. Is it any way possible that it beats $2 million as The Force Awakens did?
$2 billion.
I mean,
Billion.
$2 billion with a B, billion.
$1 billion.
That's a pretty big number.
I don't think it can beat the opening weekend, which was, I guess,
it was like 240
domestically,
million.
Yeah, it was
like
240. Yeah. I think it'll be lower than that.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know though. If it's better reviewed, which I mean, The Force Awakens got great reviews. If it's better reviewed, if it is the best Star Wars movie ever made, maybe it could. Maybe it could take down Avatar.
That's a lot of repeats.
I'll have maybe bigger audiences for later because then people are hearing about it, so they're going to maybe. And I think there's a different type of excitement because Luke is in it actually.
Yes.
So now people are like, finally, now I'm really going to go see it a lot or whatever. And I didn't see the first one, so I'm going to see this one a lot. I don't know. Different.
How many times
viewers.
did you see Force Awakens?
I saw it at least 4 times in theaters. One of them might have been in a 3D showing.
Yeah.
I think I saw at least 2 to 3 in like opening weekend. And then, wait a little while and went back.
I don't know. I didn't see it very many times.
I saw it 5.
I think I saw it
5
3
times.
times.
I saw it 5 times.
Yeah, the 4th was my 3D. It was an IMAX. It was exciting. I just 3D is not really my thing. But
No, me neither. All right. Well, we appreciate it, guys. Go to InsideTheForce.com to catch our show, our weekly show, Inside the Force. You can follow Cody Guiler on Twitter at Cody Guiler. He's Kryptonian1138. I am D. Cottingham21. Of course, all the podcasts are all over the iTunes, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio, Google Play. You're at this channel, our YouTube channel, subscribe. We got more videos coming next year in 2018. Again, we just appreciate all your feedback and all your following, and thanks for listening to us. Can't wait. Last Jedi is next, and I promise when that comes out on Blu-ray, we will be doing a commentary for that as well, because we're going to see it a ton by then, I'm sure. No. All right. Thanks. Go enjoy The Force Awakens. Go enjoy The Last Jedi. Come back and, again, just watch all our commentaries. You get a good insight look at all the movies. For Casey.
Goodbye, everybody.
For Cody.
May the Force be with you.
I'm Dave. May the force be with you.